Yeah, so that's why I was confused at the number. I was hesitant to pick up.
He was talking yesterday like he wanted a lot of smoke,
Yeah, talking like he wanted to smoke but didn't want to show up.
but then he ain't showing up. I got you.
Yep. All
You said
right.
he was gonna come on. Go ahead.
What's up, everybody? I apologize for the delay. This is a lot later than I obviously want to go. I thought we were gonna have like a loaded show today. We were supposed to have Optimus Code, according to his tweet, but I hope he's okay and everything's good and he just forgot or he's like took a nap or something like that. But yeah. So I was just trying to.
He's in his 60s, man. He's getting old.
I was trying to just leave some time for him to show up. But then again, when I was about ready to go live, I lost power. So if you're in the East Coast, the New York, New Jersey area, it's a bad thunderstorm taking place. And I'm just hoping that we don't lose power again. Could we close the door? But yeah, man, welcome to another episode of Planet Xbox. And hopefully I didn't do the wrong number, but I think we're on 72. I think last week was 71. Right? Am I correct?
That sounds right.
Sounds about right. All right. Okay. With that being said, shout out to the chat. Make sure you hit the like button and the share button. And we got a couple things to talk about, but let's first get into it. What has everyone been playing?
We're going to first.
Oh, you can go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I've been playing the hell out of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Nice.
That's what I've been. I'm at 21 hours into it. So that's what I've been playing this past week. I accidentally the one gripe, and I think that's what turns me off about the Assassin's Creed is I accidentally started up the Wrath of Druid expansion.
You did that before you
I was
started
like,
the real
this
game?
mission says the expansion in it. Like, and I haven't even beat the main game because it said that like this was like chapter 3. So it's like I don't know. The mission structure is very, very, very open in that game. Stuff with the Wrath of Druids logo pop up on my screen. I was like, oh, how did I get here? But no, I'm loving Valhalla. Been probably still going to continue playing that for like the next week or so. It seems like a very, very long game. That's all I've been playing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I loved Valhalla, and I definitely enjoyed the Wrath of the Druids expansion, and I can't wait to play the latest expansion that's about to come. I think it's like next week, or if not this week or something like that. But I have access to it, but I only have access to the PC version of the and my PC is not really like in best shape to try to get a comfortable playthrough. So I'm just gonna wait for the console version. I'm gonna just wait for the regular release so I can play it. Otherwise, I would have been doing like a review and stuff for it. But it's the main game is great, and the expansion is also great. So I bet you're having a good time. It's a lot in that game, a lot of hours.
Yeah. I definitely loved. I just got done with Asgard. I got in that whole entire section. I love that whole going through Asgard and seeing like the different version of like Loki, Freya, Thor, stuff like that. It's kind of cool to see different takes because I'm just so used to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe of these characters. To see a different take on them was very cool to see.
Yeah. Chris, what about you? What are you playing these days?
Well, I'm at the very end. I'm literally at the very end of Skyward Sword. I bought. You ever heard of Transistor, that indie game? It's from the same people that made Hades.
I heard of it. I've never played it.
Transistor with the redhead chick. The redhead chick. Yeah, I bought that. It was on sale for like $5 because there's a big summer sale going on PSN. And I've been playing it. I started playing it last night, and it's actually really good. I'm actually like surprised as far as like just like the world. Like it's very, because this game came out in 2014, I believe was when this game came out. But the graphics, like the art style, is like extremely beautiful. Like it's just like it's like some hand drawn. Like it's very beautiful, the art style. But what surprised me the most is the gameplay is for any, because this game is not that long. This game is only supposed to be like 6 or 7 hours, right, to complete it. But what's really good about it is the combat, because it has an element. It's action, right? It's an action RPG, but it also has elements of turn based, where you could use something to where you use your turn or some shit like that. Or you can go straight action. But what I like is all the unique customizations with all the moves that you get, and how you can equip like 2 or 3 moves together and you'll get different like effects and shit like that. Like if you look at like what Hades is doing, because this is from the same people who made Hades. If you look at like what Hades is doing, like with all the different like effects and abilities you get, you could tell like that Transistor was like the precursor to that, was like the, before, like, the predecessor to what they ultimately built from Hades. So that's what Transistor feels like. Because I never played it, and I want to play, and I want to get into Hades and shit like that. Because I think it's coming out this week or next week or some shit like that. But
comes out tomorrow, Hades.
Yeah, I definitely. I don't know if this game is on Game Pass. Probably is or not. But I was on sale for $5. But since y'all got recently into games like Death's Door and shit like that, like top-down indie games or whatever, I definitely think this game is definitely fun for the most part from what I've been playing. I definitely suggest it, but that's what I've been playing.
Nice. Okay, that sounds cool. What about you, Dope Boy?
I'm on chapter 13 of Final Fantasy VII Remake. So
let's go.
I'm on the
Your
tail
code
end
is
of
here.
that.
Code is in general.
He's gonna pull up. But yeah, I'm on like the tail end of that. This week I have off, so I've just been like,
code is in general.
he's gonna pull up. But yeah, I'm on like the tail end of
someone got
that.
echo.
This week I have off, so I just been like, pull off.
Yeah, Cole, you got an echo, Cole. Yeah. There we go.
All right, there we go. Yeah. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm currently playing Ghost right now, just trying to clean up some things. I already beat the game, but I'm just trying to do a lot of the additional side content before the DLC drops, so I can get ready for that. And yeah, I think I should be able to finish Final Fantasy VII Remake this week because I'm off this week. So I'm gonna be putting a lot of time into that game, and then getting into the DLC of that. And yeah, also been playing Storm 4 with some homies on PS5, and we've been giving each other all the smoke on that game. So that's been very fun to pick up that game on sale and just play with them.
Okay. Man, I've been playing. I haven't honestly. After I finished the Ascent, I've been trying to go back and do some side quests to get achievements, but I'm still bugged. So I'm trying to get into play on other.
I've seen that they haven't done the update for that yet. Where they fixed the bug achievements because I'm missing 4 and I literally can't get them.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to play with some other people in that game. I've tried the Back for Blood demo or beta. I mean, I thought
I played that as well.
and we could talk about that.
What do you think about it?
Yeah. I want to hear Jay's thoughts because he was a guy that was not a big fan of Back for Blood, but then the beta kind of.
Hold on, we gotta introduce the guest first.
Yeah, I'll talk about it later.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to hear your thoughts because I didn't get into the beta yet.
And welcome to the show, Optimus Code. He's probably not ready for us yet, but
Yeah. He's probably still trying to figure out how to put the headphones in the jack.
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm ready for y'all. I didn't know I was the guest. My fault, man. I thought I was the enemy around these parts, man.
Are you a guest?
I mean, my thing is, how you going to announce you coming to the show and then show up is
30 minutes late.
yes.
Bro, you right. I'm burned up for that. But I don't know what happened. Every time I started Discord, it said installing updates, and it just kept
Okay.
in a loop of installing updates over and over until it finally.
To be fair, my Discord was acting up earlier too. So
Yeah, it's probably
Don't try to be my friend now, Logan. I ain't forgot what you did.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to be fair. To be fair, my Discord was messing up too, so I can feel you right there.
Yo,
All right.
y'all better bring y'all always talk Optimus Cole be capping. Optimus Cole is a clown and shit like that. Don't get scared now. Well, Optimus is here.
That's right.
Okay.
God damn it.
And you too, Optimus. Don't be. Listen, shout out to Optimus Cole. I definitely invited him. He's one of my favorite guys on Twitter and shit like that. I know a lot of y'all don't like. A lot of the Xbox side don't like him because of all his trolling. But genuinely, I think he's a really good and very smart, intelligent guy, especially for what he does and shit
Man,
like that.
forget all that. What? I'm
Highly
ready
suggest.
for the
Hold on.
smoke. What's
I was
going
gonna say,
on?
shout out to AGS. AGS podcast every Sunday. Optimus is on there with Hard 8. Definitely a great show. I watch all the episodes and shit like that. But the funny thing about it is, because they're always roasting Optimus on there, right? But the one thing
you're a one-man army on there.
But the hold on, no. But the one thing, right? The one thing I always thought they was trolling, they were just they're just bullshitting, they're just exaggerating. They always say Optimus has 3 braids on his head, right? And I was like, these dudes are just trolling and shit like that. I recently watched the video, right? And it was the video talking about why he got kicked out of the Xbox community. This motherfucker really only has 3 braids on his head. I was like, oh shit, they weren't trolling. And I was like, what up, Optimus? Though, guy, you can make
What
it,
up,
bro.
Man, but I was listening to that, man, for real, no cap, man. Like, I like listening to what people is playing. That's one of my favorite part of every podcast is when each person go through and list what they've been getting into. So yeah, keep that going, man. I don't want to interrupt that.
Yeah. So what I was saying, like I tried Back for Blood. From the beta, I kind of got what I needed from it. I think it's gonna be a fun game. It looks good. I think it plays good. I'm happy it's in Game Pass. So I expect to play it a lot. Beyond that, I told you guys I'm in the middle of like kind of just browsing to see what's my next game. I've played quite a bit of Omno, OMNO. I always say that name wrong. That also came. That's also in Game Pass as well. But it's like a little indie like adventure game and whatnot.
Yeah, I heard Robbie said he liked it.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's a little puzzler
Yeah.
game.
Oh, there was a game that came out. I bought it, but I haven't played it yet. I believe it's on Xbox as well. It's called Eldest Soul.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. It's been getting pretty good. I think it's like an 83 right now on Metacritic and shit like that. But yeah, man, that game looks really good. That's why I bought it. If anybody interested in checking it out, look it up, Eldest Soul.
So Smooth, what if Back for Blood wasn't on Game Pass? Then what, you wouldn't like it?
It's not what I wouldn't like it. I mean, there's a lot of games that I like or I have interest in that I'm not sure if I'll buy. That's happened every year. That's even still the case. You guys heard me, was it earlier this year, talk a whole lot about Werewolf until I eventually bought it. I forgot who it was. Stone King, I think he helped me. He donated like 25, and I was like, you know what, this is like, all right, I'll buy it. And I played it and I liked it, but it's not a game. I think that game's like probably like a 50 something on Metacritic. Nobody else would like it, but I had like just interest in it. The same with like a ton of other games that I played. Every year I'll go through these releases and I'm like, I'm interested in that game, but I don't know if I'm like, it's like I'm interested, but do I want to commit? Like, for example, the game Hood was it the
Hood Outlaws?
Yeah, Outlaws. I was interested in the game. And I was like, I kept hesitant. Do I buy it? Do I not buy it? Do I not buy it? But the thing is, the problem was, I'm relying on, it's a multiplayer game. So, how many of my friends are going to get it?
People.
If that game was on Game Pass, I would obviously download it, but I could rely on people being able to try it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, because especially like if you're looking at like multiplayer only games.
Yeah. Like, for example,
like especially like Chivalry 2, like I'm like, I want to play Chivalry 2
and I bought
try it
Chivalry
out, but it's like, it's one of those games I'm like, I don't know if I would sink hundreds of hours into it, and I don't know anybody other than you, Smooth, that like picked it up, so I couldn't even get to like a hold of anybody. It'd be like, yeah, I want to squat up in like Chivalry, because I think the one thing that interests me is I think Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, he actually has a voice in it. He actually is one of the NPC characters that like going around acting like crazy. So I thought that'd be like a cool thing to see. But I get what you're saying. Like
I don't. How does Game Pass help that? That makes no sense.
Well, I'll tell you. For example, I bought Chivalry, right? And the thing is, because I bought it, I had to actually justify that purchase by playing it a lot. Like, I played whatever I put hours into it, got some achievements. But the good thing is, I game share. Addict ended up playing it as well, and Diller was playing it. So there was a group of people that played it, but are they still playing it? No, not really. So it's like I didn't get my money's worth out of a game like Chivalry. I was interested, but it was like that decision. It's like, I'm gonna buy it, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it, right? So
not only that, I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, not only that, but like if say Chivalry was in Game Pass, and a lot of us that are on Xbox, I mean, we just are subscribed to it, as we do use it. Have more people you could get a hold of that would be like, hey, do you want to download Chivalry? It's on Game Pass. Let's boot it up, play it, and see. Instead of everybody like having a group of people that's committed to like spending $40 here, $40 there, 40, because that's what it was, right? 40.
Chivalry, yeah, it was like $40 or $50.
Yeah, so instead of like trying to get convince all your friends
to buy it,
sit there and buy it, like more than likely those friends are on Game Pass and are already using that service. So if say a multiplayer game like that people are on the fence with, they're not sure if they want to try it out, but you do, you won't really feel alone, because hey, everybody can download it.
Yeah,
everybody can play it, and then also not only that, but you kind of brought in for multiplayer only games.
No,
brought in
absolutely not. This is not adding up at all. So let's start at the beginning. Smooth.
What?
You want to try Chivalry? You think you like it,
but
you only think you will like it if other people like it too,
it's
or
a multiplayer
even if you
game.
do like it. But they have lobbies all over the place.
Yeah, but the thing is not if I think I like it if anybody else like it. The problem is if it's a multiplayer game, right? You want to go in with people. Like I don't lone wolf every multiplayer game. The only games I could lone wolf if I wanted to is Halo and Gears, but those games are even better if you have a squad with you. If I'm unfamiliar to a franchise, like obviously this is Chivalry 2. I never played Chivalry 1. Just to give you a heads up. So I'm gonna just go there and just be like, all right, let's see what's up. So your question, you said you asked me a question. I don't even think I got to answer it before we went into the chivalry thing. Could you repeat that question? Because I want to make sure I answer
like
your
I'm
question.
not sure why. So for Back for Blood, you said you glad it's in Game Pass, and I'm trying to understand why. Because if you like it or not, what does Game Pass have to do with it?
Well, Game Pass, it just allows me now. My buy-in is low barrier to entry. It's one
you don't
thing,
gotta pay for it.
I can go into if I go into the Xbox store right now on the pre-order list, right? There's a lot of games that I have some interest in and I won't mind playing. But do I want but it is, will I buy it? Like, for example, Battlefield. Everybody's hyped for Battlefield. I'm interested in trying it, but I don't really want to pay $70 for the game because I know I'm not a Battlefield dude. I'm not. I want to try it. I want to be a part of the conversation, but I'm not the type of person that's going to buy Battlefield and then be like, "Yo, I got my money's worth. I played it. Like, I enjoyed it." Da 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 da. But if it was like in Game Pass and whatnot, I can play it and then determine. I don't have to have a buyer's remorse when I buy it. Because I had buyer's remorse on Battlefield. Which one? I bought Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1. Well, you can get it from GameFly.
2042 is gonna have a trial.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother subscription.
You get the free trial, baby.
No, I already had it. The thing is, I've had GameFly. Oh, you talking about the trial? Yeah. So Battlefield the trial, I can do the 10-hour trial if they do that.
Well, hold on, because this is spiraling out of control. Smooth.
Yeah.
Back for Blood specifically, and we'll get back to chivalry with you and Logan, but specifically for Back for Blood, you've already played it.
Yep.
You know how you feel about it.
Yep.
You already know if you want to play it or not. So I'm not sure why it matters if it's on Game Pass.
Once again, I played the beta, right? Back for Blood is not a game I generally buy.
Right. Okay. So I
generally don't buy those games. So they're like, these are just are games like I buy sure things. There's games that I know I'm going to like, and then there's certain genres. Like this is Back for Blood is what is it like a survival hoarder game, right?
Horror. It's just a co-op.
It's a co-op, and there's plenty of co-op games.
So horde mode. Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, do I think the game looks good? Do I find it interesting? Yeah, I like. It's not like. The thing is that.
Let me rephrase my question, Smooth. What is the difference in playing the beta and trying the game, knowing if you like it or not, or that same thing happening in Game Pass, knowing if you like it or not?
Well, a beta is beta. One, it's a beta, and trying to Game Pass, I'm getting access to the full game.
Sure, but from the beta, you already know if you want to play it or not.
But all right,
Smooth, just keep it real. Just say you happy you don't got to pay full price for it.
But I already said that. So the thing is like if he said he's going, you're basing the beta is not the entire game, is it? Or like,
no, it's not. But it's enough to let you know if it's something you're interested in or not.
All right. Okay. For example, what game did we all recently buy? Me and Logan, we bought. What's this game called? Necromunda. How high that was on our list, right? That was in Game Pass. We bought the shit. Right?
I did get hella burn on Necromunda.
Got the biggest burn ever on that game.
Dude, like since that game ran so bad at launch, I've yet to go back to it. But yeah.
So for example, people like guess what? Also, your beta question, right? Your beta question.
Yeah, because what I'm asking.
No, because I got another example.
Right there where you are, because that's a good example. Because the game that y'all just mentioned is a game you don't know. You're taking a chance, and so you don't know. That's one thing.
The issue with
is something you're not taking a chance. You already know from playing it if it's something you want to invest your time in or not.
I want to invest my time.
The issue with Necromunda wasn't about whether I would have been interested in the game or not.
Yeah,
that game was broken at launch, and it was broken for a month straight.
Sure, but either way, my point is you were taking a gamble because you didn't know any of those things because you didn't get a chance to try it out under those conditions.
Oh yeah. Well, and then also they didn't really advertise it with those issues at hand.
That's fine. But Back for Blood is not that same thing because he did get a chance to try that. And he already has developed an interest or not. Right now, he already knows this is something I want to put time into or I don't.
Yeah, and but so it's not about the matter of disliking or not. It's the fact of like, I found interest in a whole lot of games. I got into betas for a whole lot of games. I was like, I'm interested that I didn't ultimately buy.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
The thing
That's
is,
my point. So from the beta, okay, I'm not interested in that, or yes, I am interested in that.
Yeah, but it didn't solidify my purchase.
So for Back for Blood, you play the beta, you a little bit interested in it, but you still not sure if you actually interested in it or not.
Yeah, like for example, if Back for Blood was not in Game Pass, right, and I still got to play the beta, my opinion still would have been the same, but I still couldn't tell you with a straight face if I'm going to buy it or not. I would have I would play the field to see who else is going to buy it.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So playing the beta didn't really help you determine if you like it or not. So then how will playing it in Game Pass help you determine if you like it or not?
Once again, I don't have to buy it and test. I can just.
Oh my God! So what?
So if I play it, so for example, after getting through the beta, because obviously in Game Pass you get access to the entire game, so the game opens up more, and then I can determine, do I like this? Like,
okay, so wait,
for example, Dungeons and Dragons was the recent example, right? I was interested, downloaded the shit in Game Pass, and I was like, I can't do this, so I didn't play it again.
Sure. But it's like the way you're talking now is that once the full game is in Game Pass and you get these 2 or 3 extra modes, you're behaving as if, this one extra mode is the thing that will seal the deal. And now I know I actually like it.
No, I'm not. Because at the end of the day,
core gameplay is the same.
The small sample size, I like the beta, right? The small sample size, I like what I saw in the beta. When I get it in Game Pass, sure. Things can change. The shit can be broken. They had a flawless beta, and the game could come out and be broken.
Sure, but the gameplay.
All right. The game. What about the gameplay? There's plenty of games that play exactly the same.
Sure. What I'm trying to say is, and I think that this is true, that the gameplay for Back for Blood is pretty much set. Not much is going to change between now and the release. And either you like the core gameplay loop or you don't. And you already know that, but you say you don't already know it. You kind of know it, but
it's not about liking the gameplay. Am I going to like the entire package of the game? It's like I could like a gameplay loop, but there's a lot of games out today that I probably like, but I didn't buy, or I could probably play that I didn't buy. It happens all the time. I don't buy a whole lot of PlayStation games on PlayStation.
You keep bringing up a different example that I said I want to get to later. Well, I hope we can. Right now, I'm just trying to understand how you've already played the game enough to know if you like the core gameplay loop, but you saying I actually need to see the whole game before I know if I like the whole gameplay loop.
All right, so for example, I like what is Battlefield? Battlefield's a shooter, right?
Yeah.
I can play shooters, but I'm not set on buying every shooter that comes out.
I'm not talking about. Why do you keep bringing up buying?
It's an example. Don't bring it up again. You're trying to isolate me liking the gameplay loop to like, so why do I like it more?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to figure out why, if you've already played a game, you need the game to come in Game Pass so you can play it again. I don't need it to go in the Game Pass. Then determine if you like it.
I don't need it to go in the Game Pass.
He already said his feelings on the game, though.
I don't need it to go in the Game Pass to determine. The thing is, Game Pass, I don't need to buy it. I don't need to buy it. I know I can play it.
Oh my God. Let's not bring up buying ever again, like in this conversation. I understand that you don't have to buy it.
But my decision in my never mind. Go ahead. I'll try to answer your question without the term purchase or buy.
Yes, I'm talking about playing, just playing the game at all.
But it costs.
Let's just say somebody in the podcast donated it to you for free. It don't matter how you get it.
Yep.
You have the game.
Yep.
You said you played the demo. You know how you feel. You like this, that, or the other. You are glad it's in Game Pass because you can decide if you want to play it. I'm trying to understand why.
I didn't say I'm glad it's in Game Pass so I can decide if I want to play. I'm glad it's in Game Pass so I can play it. I don't have to buy it. I'm sorry.
So I didn't mean to use the word you want to play it. So you already know you want to play it right now.
My God.
Well, because you just said you need to see all the modes.
You're not going to get me. You're not going to get me.
I'm not trying to get you. I'm trying to understand you.
What is there to understand?
Allegedly.
What,
Yeah,
I don't
there's no
understand what.
competition. You said earlier that you needed to see the whole game before you knew if you wanted to play it. Now
No,
you
not.
just said you already know you want to play it. I'm trying to understand how you can play a game and needed to go on the Game Pass before you actually know if you want to play it
No,
or not.
I've never said that. I think you're merging my. I never said I needed to go into Game Pass to know if I wanted to play. I said I played the beta. I know what it's like. I'm looking forward to this game to come to Game Pass. I never said I needed it to go to Game. It going to Game Pass doesn't
Okay.
determine if I play it or not. I played it because I played the beta. It
Right.
like me. What determined if I purchase it or not is whether do I love this game or do I think it's all right.
All right. Well, so I understand what's going on. In this conversation, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be impossible for me to mention Game Pass without y'all thinking it's got something to do with a purchasing decision. And so you're automatically reading into my question things that I
But
didn't
you
actually
said,
say.
but you keep asking about like, but I never said Game Pass makes me want to play it.
Well, you said that you needed to see the modes. I said, ain't much going to change from the beta. You already understand the loop. And you was explaining to me why you needed to see the actual game in Game Pass and how that could be different than the beta. And that is what you would use to decide if you really wanted to play it or not. And then you-
No. Well, I'm sorry
Well,
if I
what
did
were
that.
you
'Cause I never
explaining?
meant for that to be the case of me wanting to play the game.
But
Me
that's
playing
all I
the
was
beta
asking.
you just determined that hey, I
So-
think I like the game. I think this is something I can rock with.
Yes, and that's what I thought. And I was like, well, why does he need to see it in Game Pass? And that's why I started asking.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it wasn't that I need to see it in Game Pass, but I said I'm happy that it's in Game Pass because it's one of those games like there's a lot of games that I hate using the example that I find interest in or think that I have interest in, but when it comes down to when it's released, it's like, all right, do I pre-order this? Do I buy it? Hey, you gonna buy this game or you gonna get this game? Da da da. Like, do you want to go half on this? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
from there on,
I mean,
it
that all
determines if
makes
I get the
sense.
game or not.
Yeah, I am a current Game Pass subscriber, have been since day one. I don't have any issue with people using Game Pass or any of that stuff, which is why you don't have to sell me on the whole purchase and stuff. I literally thought I heard you say you played the beta, you glad it's coming to Game Pass, so you can see if you want to play it. And that's the part that had me confused. Maybe I misunderstood what you
Maybe
said.
I misworded. Maybe I just, but I
Yeah,
didn't
I
mean
think-
it. I don't
I
think I
think-
meant to say it that way. But
I don't know. I think with Smooth, I think he played the beta. Did you liked it, right? Like, or you thought it was okay?
Yeah, I
right?
mean, I think we good now. I think we done squashed it.
Right, but Smooth, you think it's okay, or do you actually like it, or anything
no,
like that?
I think it's okay. I think it's good.
You
It's not
think
like,
it's okay?
Yeah,
because the game is not going to change drastically from the beta to the final game. You're going to
Yeah,
have
no, this
modes,
is a marketing beta,
but
yeah.
essentially, it's going to be the same game. So Smooth is saying it's like, oh, I think the beta is cool. Now that it's in Game Pass, I don't have to buy the game, so I can play the game with a couple of my friends for 2 days and never play it again. Exactly what's going to happen.
and that may be true. That it may be true. Like
No, that is true.
I'm not afraid to admit like games because there are
No, but
games
I'm not
coming to
knocking
Game
you,
Pass.
Smooth. I'm not knocking you because that's taking advantage of Game Pass. That's what Game Pass is for.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, so going forward with me, if I'm ever on the show again, we ever talking about Game Pass, you don't have to be defensive with Game Pass with me. I am a fan of Game Pass or the concept of Game Pass. Once Microsoft start dropping content, then I'm all in on Game Pass. So you do not ever have to worry that I'm one of them people that's going to attack you or trying to find a flaw with you liking Game Pass. I specifically thought I heard something that we've corrected it now. But then Logan brought up another example of some other
Clean the
stuff.
wax out your ears, man.
Wait,
Get
before,
old.
before we do that, I do gotta get to these quick super chats. I think they were in here for a minute. Flaffy 1101 says,
What up, Flaffy?
put the pressure. Code. This is Planet PS now. No, it is not.
Yeah, it's a baby. Planet Pegasus. Planet Pegasus, baby.
Carlos Alvarado says, Code, Game Pass only allows you to try a game without the fear of regret from purchase. I buy all the games I enjoy from Game Pass. Others end up saving money.
I agree with that, Carlos, 100%. You don't have to convince me of that. I do pretty much the same thing. I bought 5 copies of The Ascent, one for myself, one for other people, just because I thought the game was that good and I wanted to encourage that type of development. So I hear you 100%. I am a big fan of Game Pass for the most part.
You just don't like Bob brains.
Okay, so You bought 5 copies.
Yes, the Ascent
Yeah,
specifically.
and knowing all 5 copies were bugged.
Well, I didn't. I pre-ordered them,
Oh, you pre-ordered them.
gifted them.
Oh, so you pre-ordered before you? Okay, so you did this
Yeah.
without trying it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right, well, cool. I mean, like I said, I like the Ascent, despite some of the bugs that it has in a game that I'm still dealing with now. That's keeping me from my 100% completion. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Neon Giant and Curve Digital.
Did you see just a quick thing? Did you see someone made a first person mod in that game?
I did.
And that I'm kind of a little bit jealous of it, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to play that game in first. I would like to look at the environments, like, because I've seen it too, and you know, there's definitely details to look at in the environments in first person and shit like that. But that type of game, I wouldn't want to play it in first person.
Man, them environments are nice. I don't know if y'all talked about that yet, but I was really impressed with the world detail in the Ascent. For sure.
Nah, we already talked about this a week ago. We don't got to talk about it again.
All right.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool to get another an opinion. I mean the game, the people's response to the game was very like what's the word?
I think user wise, it's been very, reviewed well. Obviously, other than bugs.
Yeah, you got to pay attention to the people who play the game. You know what I mean? Because like,
yeah, a lot of people
there's people attacking it. There's people attacking it because of the meta score. And I made my jokes because of Metascore, because of because of Smooth, right? Because Smooth, the 85 and up and stuff like that. But you gotta pay attention to the people who just are attacking it because of the Metascore, and then the people who actually playing it. Because I see more so people who played it that actually say. I have seen people who played it and said, "Yeah, it's full of issues. I don't like this shit at all. This shit's trash."
It ain't full of issues. That's not true.
Well, I don't know, but it has issues, right? But I've seen a lot of other people that say that they really enjoy the game. So it's one of those games you gotta have to try out yourself, to determine if you like it or not.
I agree. Don't listen to people that's just hating on it because of the Metacritic score. Don't even just look at the Metacritic score. The game is nice. It's fast. It has amazing graphics. It's not super deep, but they've got some good items, good little skill tree. The game is definitely fun, especially if you playing with other people, man. The game is really nice.
Yeah, that's why I haven't played through the entire. I only played portions of the game in co-op, but I played through most of this bad boy solo dolo. But I like it, man. I would love for them to come out with another version of the same exact game in first person, just to see, because after seeing that mod, I'm like, because it's crazy detail for the type of game it is. It's like there were a lot of developers, especially an independent developer, would cheat in this area in terms of they don't. There's details they don't have to pay attention to in a game like this.
Yeah.
Like they could have easily finessed their way around. But I'm like, yo, why do they have details in areas that you're never going to even go into? Like you're never going to experience. That was the weird thing. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But
there was plenty of areas where I was like trying to lean over the rail and you couldn't, but I was trying to get the camera to tilt just so I could see extra areas. They did a really nice job with the detail, in my opinion.
Yeah, and definitely appreciate the level of the destruction, which because some of the cover obviously can be shot and blown to pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah. Some nice touch. Too bad Microsoft didn't make it though. It's really a nice game.
Too bad. What's the difference? Is you can still play
because then they would actually be contributing nice content to the service themselves that we don't have to worry about. It's going to be gone in 4 or 5 months. The whole lure of Game Pass is Microsoft first party, so that stuff is always there. You always have it.
And a couple of third party surprises as well too.
Sure, but that stuff gonna be gone soon.
Yeah, but we never know. We never know.
Will be in Game Pass for quite a long time.
We'll probably be there for a year.
I think
maybe.
A year is a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
It probably just depends on if Microsoft contributed some of the development costs though too, because I know they do that for quite a few games.
Yeah,
to be able to get it on the Game Pass.
Well, it's exclusive, so for now, I think it's a time exclusive.
Usually, when these games are exclusive, they got some sort of monetary help, so through the.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're Shout out to Daron James for $2. He said the Ascent game of the year, hands down. See,
I don't know. I enjoyed the Ascent, man, but I don't know if I'd say game of the year.
Yeah.
Hey, if he
Well, I
loves
mean,
it,
but you do,
if he
dude.
likes
Like,
it,
I mean,
he
if that's
likes
your game of
it.
the year,
I can't. Look, my game of the year currently is, and I was just playing this bitch last night. Is Returnal, and there's a lot of people who never played it. They'd be like, "Oh, that shit, Chad. Look at the reflection and looking and blah blah blah." And then there's people who couldn't handle the game. They got the ass whooped that talk shit about it. You know what I mean?
The reflection
You know
is
what I mean?
bad though. The reflection is bad in that game. That's not a lie.
yeah, I'm sorry. The reflections were worse than a lot worse than Craig.
Hey.
They didn't get the same, response.
What you talking about? Wait, what now? Say what?
The what's that? The Newport lady that's in that game Returnal? Like
He's okay. He's upset. Well, I don't know if he's upset, but what he's trying to say is that he feels like that part of like the reflect when she's looking in the mirror or whatever, right? And how bad it looks. He feels like people should have gave that the same energy that they gave Halo Infinite with Craig, which in my opinion is two totally different things.
No,
because
Halo one's the main character,
Wait,
right?
hold it. Smooth.
Yeah.
If people would have given Halo smoke only because of Craig, you would have had a good point. Because he was just one small instance in a much bigger package. Like
That's
that reflection is one small instance in a much bigger package. Halo didn't get smoked because of Craig. Craig was just one more thing piled on the top of things that were already wrong with him.
Yep. The pop-ins and all. Yep.
So if it was 1-to-1, you would have a good point actually. But that is not that wasn't the thing. Like I don't know how you felt about the demo, Smooth, but a lot of people watched that showcase and a lot of people just were not impressed. And so far the screenshots and all that stuff that they've been releasing shows the amount of improvement that can happen. So if you thought that Halo was great back then, I don't really have nothing to say other than they were right to hold it back and to try to beef it up some.
Yeah, it was best for the game. Now the game's gonna be better because of it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, Smooth was on the table. Was like, I just want this shit to release. It looks fine to me. I don't care. And I was no. Smooth, because if it would have released,
that's the type of shit I'll be talking about. That attitude right there doesn't help Xbox. The whole thing of just whatever they do is great, just give it to me, and then start defending whatever they output. That type of feedback is not helping Xbox get better.
Facts.
The feedback that they got, and with the Halo that we're getting now and all of that stuff, that is a direct result of people being honest with the feedback. And again, if you really thought that was great, then that's up to you. Of course, that's your choice. But that stuff does not move us forward, man, at all. That stuff damages Xbox.
Yeah, because even with like all the feedback from last year, it's like even with the beta, like the beta, so for the most part, it's pretty polished, right? Like as far as how it functions,
was really good.
Yeah, y'all talking about the multiplayer
PC
tech preview? Or
the tech preview. My bad, I call it beta. I know it's a difference, but
yeah,
it's the same
preview.
shit. I don't care.
It was definitely refined on the series consoles, but the PC version needed a bit of work. But from a gameplay standpoint, it ran well. Like
I mean, it looked pretty smooth when I saw some gameplay of it. Besides the dog shit fruits in their game,
you see my beast gameplay.
Fruitgate.
Dope boy, I haven't seen him, man. Put some clips up on Twitter. Let me check you out. Oh, you got him on your channel?
Yeah, I got it on my channel. I got a whole video giving feedback on the game on what things they should implement now.
So I'm gonna have to check that out. Did you get into the human multiplayer aspect, or did you only get to go against bots?
I got into the human aspect. I wasn't recording during the human aspect, but I play Halo pretty often on my.
How was it? Like, I trust your opinion. How was it? The actual human versus human. How was it?
It's definitely better than 5, and there's a multitude of reasons why it's better than 5. So the thing with 5 in particular is the game is pistol heavy, like I said in my review.
Okay.
So now that you have more weapons that are more viable in the multiplayer, you can play pretty much any style you want because there's no like OP weapon inside the game. The assault rifle is probably the best assault rifle I use. The battle rifle was pretty balanced, and then the pistol was an OP. Like That's my only issue with Halo 5 is that the pistol. The movement was fine inside Halo 5. Some people didn't like the thruster pack. I liked it a lot. It added a higher I'll say skill to the game because you had to master the movement and navigate the map. But it feels like a mix of like Halo Reach with Halo 2. I would say that would be like the two best comparisons.
Can you run?
Obviously, they have some. Oh yeah, you have sprint in the game. Sprint's it's not faster than your walk, but it still works. Like, and I know some people complained about the sprint, but I didn't think it was that bad.
Okay, interesting. And the multiplayer human versus human was nice.
The PvP was excellent.
Okay, that's what's up. And you played it on PC.
I played on PC and Series X, but most of my gameplay came from Series X because the PC version wasn't great.
No, I meant specifically the PvP.
Oh yeah.
And like, how big was the lobby? Like, was it 5-on-5, 20? Like, how big was the actual?
It was just 4v4 the entire playthrough.
Okay, even when they did the human stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
when they did those are different modes. They're gonna have more players. It's usually the big team battle that gives you that extra.
Yeah, the majority of it was just 4v4. Well, all of it was 4v4, and the majority was just against bots. There were specific times during the flight where you get to play PvP with certain people, but it's limited.
Right, I saw that. Like, it was open for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't that long, but I enjoyed my time playing that. I have a lot of gameplay recorded. I have my video giving some feedback as to what they should do with the game moving forward, particularly for progression and customization, because one of the things I enjoyed about Halo 3 and Halo Reach in particular was player expression inside the game and actually earning your stuff, as opposed to going all in that battle pass mode. Like, I don't mind battle passes, but you also have to have other stuff inside the game, like pieces of armor and gear that you can get through playing the game and actually grinding, that people can say, hey, like, it's bragging rights. Even the rank, like having the actual rank playlist as opposed to a number and the symbols next to it is a really good thing.
Okay, I'm gonna check out your video, man, for sure. Definitely gonna check it out.
I'll send it to you. I'll DM you on Twitter.
Shout out to Flaffy1101 again. He says, it's funny now, Xbox love talking about indies, but not too long ago, calling PlayStation indie station. Oh my, how things changed. Okay.
That was like 7 years ago, though.
Yeah, nobody from this podcast has ever said that.
Carlos Alvarado says, Returnal looks lit. Too bad the PS community didn't support it. Game should have been a multi-plat, or at least on a PC. It would have done a lot better.
I bought the game, so I reported. I know Cole bought the game, so he supported it. And Sony says they're happy with the sales. So I don't know what I don't know.
I mean, I'd be happy with the sales too if I sold a $30 game for $70 and 570,000.
Here we go. Oh, and speaking of that, right? Last week, Sony said that Ratchet and Clank, right, Rift Apart, exceeded their sales expectations. So that goes to show that everybody who had this fake ass. Hold on.
Let that Pegasus man speak his piece. What's wrong with y'all?
I don't know how much they expected, but they said it exceeded the expectations. So everybody who had these fake, unrealistic expectations that the game was supposed to sell 8 million copies in 24 hours and shit like that, that shuts all that shit down, because this game is the fastest selling in the series. It's the most selling in the series. It doubled the number of the 2016, which was at lower price and at a higher install base. And it exceeded the expectation.
Yeah, so that means they only expected 750K sold, and they sold 1 million. So, which is, by y'all standards, not a lot.
That is a lot. What's wrong with you, Smooth?
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure we notate that.
Don't compare apples to oranges. Don't compare apples to oranges.
The game so
when a PS4 banger hits,
they expected to sell like Spider-Man. That's what they expect.
No. When a PS4 banger hits, that's an audience of 120 million consoles. So of course you're gonna have more sales. At the time when Returnal and Ratchet and Clank,
it was like 6 or 7 million.
Yeah, it wasn't even at 10 million yet. It is ridiculous to think that you're gonna get 4 million out of 6 or 7 million consoles.
I said 2 million. You guys can go back, roll the tape. I said 2 mil at the very least, because that's the only next gen game out. It's the most visually appealing game, and It's a known
Even right
franchise.
now, the attach
we know
rate
why
is
you
So
know
now
this
y'all
shit.
want to talk good about attach rates. I remember when Xbox
I've
was
been
talking
talking about
attach rates
attach rate.
like a couple years ago.
Absolutely
Nobody
not.
didn't want to hear it.
I always have talked about attach rate since I entered the chat.
Can I ask a question? Is 2 million unrealistic for me for a game that has a known name attached to it and it's the best looking game on the next gen consoles?
That
Hands
question
down?
is devoid of
Yes.
wait, no,
Yes,
it's 2 million out of if there's only 1 million consoles, so then yes, unrealistic. 2 million out of what? Like, what is the ratio that you're expecting? You have to provide more context to that
So
question.
how many units of the PS5 was sold back then?
Back in June, I don't know. It said
I
like
don't know,
10
probably like
million now.
7, 8 million,
Yeah,
maybe.
7, 8, somewhere. Who knows? But yeah, somewhere up in there.
For a PlayStation exclusive with a known name, I expected 2 million because I expected that game to attach well with PS5s. That being its only true next gen game out at the time.
Right, but it's not the only. It's not the only. It's not the only game that's available. You also got to take into account Miles Morales. And here's the thing: it's like you got to also compare it to the previous Ratchet and Clank. See, everybody was thinking that Ratchet and Clank was going to be the same as Last of Us 2 or God of War or Spider-Man and
way.
shit like that.
I didn't think that.
When none of the other games have even Ratchet and Clank has always been one of those franchises that has a cult following. Not no mega huge franchise and shit like that.
I don't even think that matters, Pegasus brother. This man said he wanted
Pegasus
a
brother.
33% attach rate. What game have you ever seen, even on Nintendo, that has a 33% attach rate?
That's a Nintendo game.
Well, I mean,
they
Animal
did it.
Crossing.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Pretty much every Nintendo game.
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
forget Nintendo. Forget Nintendo.
Don't bring up
All one in
Nintendo.
there.
Yeah, but Nintendo is the wrong one to bring
Yeah,
up.
forget Nintendo. What game in any other console has, other than Nintendo, has an attach rate of 30%?
I would have to do the research on that to answer
insanely
that
high.
question. So I can't answer that right now. But
Well, fair
know.
If
enough.
I'm gonna
I
go
thought-
with
I
launch,
thought-
if I'm going with
I
launch
thought that game
period,
could've
if I'm going with
sold
launch
2 mil.
period,
I would have to
Dead
steal.
Rising 3, Rise Son of Rome, they all had a good enough attach ratio since we're talking about like because when I
I
like
bought
in
Dead
terms
Rising
of what's
3.
like flopping and those were considered flops.
Well, no, Smooth, you got to look at
Who, though?
that two
Flops to
different
who?
ways. You got to look at that two different ways, right? Because it's like a launch success and then overall success. So, for example, we had the headlines about Spider-Man Miles Morales was a flop at launch because it didn't sell this many copies because it was available for PS4 and PS5. So it didn't have the quote unquote excuse of being PS5 only because
Yeah.
people could also buy it on PS4 and the sales didn't match. But then as more and more PlayStation 5s became available, and Forte was on the AGS and he was telling us that at his GameStop and specifically in other places in his region, people weren't buying Miles Morales on PS4 because they wanted to play it on PS5. And they
I
were
told
hard
people.
to get,
I
so
said that.
people were just waiting for PS5. And as more and more PS5s come into the wild, we see the sales for Miles Morales keeps going up and up. So if you look at it now, it is a success. If you look at it at the launch, it was legitimately considered a flop. And so if you asking was Miles a flop at launch? Yes. Is it a flop now? No. And if you take those two games that you was talking about, if you separate those periods, I think they had a great launch. But then overall, throughout the lifespan of the console, they didn't keep up the momentum they had at launch.
Oh, you talking about Dead Rising? You
Demon's
talking about
Souls-
Dead Rising?
How's Demon Souls doing?
They haven't released
I don't know.
numbers
They
of
didn't
Demon's
even
Souls.
mention Demon Souls.
I don't know. I have
I haven't
no
heard.
idea. I have no idea.
That is a real
DOA?
good question. I'm curious why they didn't bring that up.
Is Returnal a flop?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because they said it didn't match the numbers that they wanted. So you remember when I was on your show about, I don't know, maybe 4
Like 3
years
months ago.
No,
Oh,
like 4 years ago, and we were talking about the sales of the PSVR and how they had their numbers that they wanted. They had their targets and their milestones that they wanted, and they hit those targets. But they sold what, like 2 million PSVRs, but people were like whining like 20, 30 million, like it's a flop. But it wasn't a flop, and obviously they're making a second one because it hit their metrics. Same thing with Game Pass. Last thing we heard, Microsoft said 18 million. We got these magazines and other people saying 20, 23 million. Microsoft hasn't said anything other than 18 million. That is less than a third of the people that actually own Xboxes. So while people are going around saying everybody or most gamers want Xbox, it's not even true that most gamers on Xbox, I'm sorry, Game Pass. It's not even true that most gamers on Xbox want Game Pass. It is really low compared to the number of Xboxes there are. But is it a flop? Absolutely not. Not in my opinion, because Microsoft has numbers that they need the service to hit where they consider is viable, even if it doesn't match what we want for console war stuff, for bragging rights or attacking rights. That stuff comes into play for us and we can make jokes about it. But at the end of the day, Microsoft doesn't think Game Pass is a flop. Mixer on Game Pass had quite a bit of stuff, and they gave that dude $10 million to come stream and all this stuff, and they had numbers, but those numbers didn't match their metrics. So you can't just look at the numbers in isolation. Each organization has KPIs that they track, and as long as the properties are hitting those KPIs, they'll keep going. For example, we heard what happened with Days Gone. It had much higher numbers, but apparently they didn't greenlight the pitch for the sequel. Well, Returnal has much lower overall numbers than that, but in context, they think that it is a much better property. So that's
It also reviewed really well. Days Gone didn't review the greatest initially.
Yeah, I have mixed reviews.
But I mean, when you guys think when you look at Days
Gone,
Gone, I mean, I think Days Gone is kind of in the realm of what we just saw with the Ascent, where the critic wise, the Ascent scored
Logan,
very
you
low.
actually said something intelligent. That is a good point.
But then you look at Days Gone. Days Gone didn't review very well, but I love Days Gone, dude. I bought it day one. Put 40.
I loved it too. A lot of
thought it was really great.
Yeah.
So to sit there and say that one game can be destroyed by Metacritic, but the others can't, and basically call it not successful, I find that's a little odd.
Well, Returnal reviewed well, and publishers do care about Metacritic scores to a certain degree, and not a lot, but a decent amount of studios, their bonuses are dictated by a Metacritic score going well as well. So that's something we have to consider with a game like Days Gone, where Returnal, like they said, hey, according to their metrics and what the budget of the game was, it was a success for them. If we look at the numbers ourselves in context to other Sony games, we can say it's a flop, but in reality, it's not. But I still think it's a flop because I like to talk my shit about that.
I mean, with this community, how many and how much people brag about sales, right? And for the console wars, for the list and shit like that. Like everybody, especially on the PlayStation side, because what they did last generation. But we got to understand that a lot of these games that were selling 3 million in one day and shit like that, we're doing it at like what we talking about, the install base was much larger. Everything was established and shit like that. And people need to understand that these are PS5 only. This happens all the time at the beginning of the generation. The first games, the numbers, they usually do well because there's not a whole lot of options, right? But in the grand scheme of things, when you look back, it's Knack only sold 1 million, or Killzone only sold a little less than 2 million or some shit like that. In the grand scheme of things, it's just this shit is a flop or whatever. But at the time when it was when the PS4, it was considered a success because there wasn't that many people to gravitate towards those games as far as as far as the attach rate. The thing with Nintendo is different. Nintendo is an anomaly. I know my boy Persona, he hates that and shit like that. But the thing with Nintendo is everybody buys Nintendo just to play the Nintendo games. Nobody buys Nintendo and be like, hey, I want to play the next Grand Theft Auto and shit like that, right? But then on PlayStation, right, when the PS5 comes out, you have Demon Souls and shit like that, right? But Demon Souls and Miles Morales, not only are they competing with each other, they were also competing with Call of Duty as well. They were also competing with Assassin's Creed, all these games that came out on the same time as well. So that's what people.
I still would like to hear those Demon Souls numbers. That was a good point, Smooth.
Yeah.
Shout out to Blessed Red. He said Ratchet and Clank can be found for $47 now, by the way, with the moon face.
Yeah, and Returnal was 50. And that was my point. That was always my point.
Yeah,
when people
always
complain.
Yeah.
When people were complaining about $70, I always said you could wait. You're never forced to buy anything you don't want. You're never forced to buy $70. PlayStation and all of the other, and then and Xbox, even though Xbox is going more the Game Pass route, but even all the other third-party publishers, all of their games always drop in price a few months after they come out. The only people that don't do that is Nintendo. They're the only ones that will keep the same price for 5 years, and they'll be $60. But everybody else, they always drop in price a couple months after they came out. So I never understood the complaint. Now you can get Ratchet and Clank for $40, $47 or whatever. You never had to pay $70 for it.
Yeah, they say it like it's some type of insult, like, ooh, your games went on sale. Like, what the fuck? Man, get out of here.
Shout out to Carlos Alvarado. He says Days Gone did better when it landed on PC. So did Death Stranding, because Death Stranding it took him like 2 platforms in 3 years to get to what, 5 million.
Well, Days Gone sold like I think they sold like 7 or 8 million on PlayStation. It was like a little. Yeah,
really? It was like 6 or 7 million or some shit like that. So how much did it sell on PC?
Yeah, I don't know the PC numbers. In regards to $70 games, you guys have to understand that like games have stagnated in price for a very, very long time as well. So these budgets of these games are increasing, prices are the same, and now you're starting to see some of these games barely break even. So like they have to make up the money some way, somehow. So charging the extra $10 for some of these games aren't bad. Now you can argue about which games you think in your heart is worth $70.
It's worth it, yeah.
At the end of
pay for
it. You have to make a choice for yourself.
Yeah,
right. Like there's some games that I feel like, day one, $70. God of War, day one. Horizon, day one. Final Fantasy 16, day one, $70. But then there's other games.
Well, that's like, a lot of $70 day ones on that PlayStation side, player.
Yeah.
What's your day ones on the Xbox side?
But like for something else, for example, like Assassin's Creed, I'm not paying, like that's a $60 game. I haven't been really liking a lot of that. I think they're okay, but I don't feel that game is worth full price to me for the quality that Ubisoft has been giving me as far as like these games. So guess what? I usually wait for them shits to go on sale, $20. There's a lot of games I just wait for them to go on. I still haven't even got Resident Evil yet, and you know what I mean. And I really want to play that game, but I've been playing a whole bunch of other games and shit like that. So a lot of times, for a lot of games, I do wait. For other games, I don't care. I don't care what the price is. And for the most part, I've been gaming for a very long time, since the early 90s, right? That for the most part, now I'm not saying I'm 100% correct every time, but for the most part, I can tell if I'm really gonna enjoy the game or not. You know what I mean? Like I know myself at this point.
You ain't never had buyer's remorse?
I have. That's what I'm saying. I literally just said I'm not 100% accurate all the time, but for the most part, I know myself.
So you barely have buyer's remorse.
Yeah, like I'll tell you what my buyer's remorse, like Anthem. That was a buyer's remorse. I bought that shit day one. You know what I mean, for $60. That was definitely a buyer's remorse. Let's see what else. I can't really think of. I don't know if all the games. Like I'm very picky with the games I choose to buy at full price. Like I'm very picky. So it's like when I buy a game at full price, like or a day one, like it's either like an established franchise or like a game that looks really fucking good that I want to play day one. You know what I mean? Like Ghost of Tsushima, that shit looked amazing. So I bought I bought the $70 edition actually. Damn. I bought the deluxe edition, right? Day one. And it was my game of the year, or it was like my tie for my game of the year. You know?
Digital or physical? Which one you got? I got the physical one with the steelbook.
I had the physical one with the steelbook, but I lost. I had to rebuy. I had to rebuy because I lost that shit in the fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I lost that shit in the fire. So I had to rebuy it, but I rebought it for it was like $20. I rebought it for, so I don't care.
Shout out to Don Nataku for the $5. She said the way that PS fans in the industry talks about Sony exclusive, they should be matching Nintendo games, and they don't even drop prices. And he also followed that up, but that's
I already explained that.
Games are selling way more than they were when games started at $60. 1 million overall used to be a success in 2006. $70 isn't justified.
What do you mean $70 isn't justified? What does that even mean?
He has to elaborate on that because, like I said before, the game budgets are increasing. So if you look at the cost of making a video game versus the cost of selling it, it's not.
What do you mean justified for who? Who is he? He don't sit on the board or something?
Right.
What is he talking
and you also got to, because I'm pretty sure everybody in here and everybody in the chat, right? If there's a fucking game that you really want, say they come out with the sequel of your favorite game ever or a remake of your favorite game ever, and that motherfucker is $70, you're gonna buy that shit day one. So I didn't want to hear that shit.
If it's worth it to you, if it's not,
Yeah,
then
exactly. Everybody
it's like
has-
Battlefield is dropping with no campaign, and every Battlefield person that I see don't care.
Day one. Yep. They don't care. And they're buying that shit day one. A lot of people are buying Battlefield because people love Battlefield, especially now since it's going back into modern or future times and shit like that. So many people are hyping up Battlefield.
My point is they taking stuff out of the game. They are giving you less of a game for more money, and nobody's batting an eye. Don't care.
From my understanding, I could be totally wrong, but from my understanding, all of the Battlefield games that usually end with like the number 42, which is whether it's like 2142 or 1942 or whatever, and shit like that, none of them ever had a campaign.
I heard that before too, but none of them was $70.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's facts.
That's true. That's true. For some people, some people rightfully may have a problem with that, right? Rightfully so. It's the same thing with Call of Duty, right? When they came out, Black Ops 4 came out with no campaign, and Black Ops is usually like the leader of the campaigns when it comes to like all the Call of Duties. Like everybody loves like the Black Ops, like Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 is regarded as like the best campaigns of the Call of Duties, right? So people were rightfully upset like that shit they came out with no campaign and shit like that. So like people, but to me, for me personally, I've never played a Battlefield campaign except for 3. Then that's the only one I completed. Every other Battlefield I got after that, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, and shit like that, I always hopped onto the multiplayer. So to me, it not having a campaign, as long as the multiplayer is improved because of it, I don't really care.
Sorry, so a couple things I want to point out. So Ninja Theory Xbox gave us a Stealth Hellblade update, which allows the game to has a couple performance mode. We got a ray tracing mode at
what?
A ray tracing mode. There's a
no. At what frames?
At what frames? It's 30 frames.
Okay. No, I just want to know.
I mean, isn't that the default ray tracing mode on?
Not on PlayStation, baby.
Y'all got you guys got better ray tracing modes at 30 frames per second on both Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank. Y'all wasn't talking that shit until they made a compromised ray tracing version at 60. So those were late additions. Those were late additions. So y'all don't even got room to talk there.
No,
but
Ratchet and Clank was there day one.
Oh, I got plenty of room to talk, but I'm gonna let you finish the topic.
But anyway,
go ahead.
So 4K 30 ray tracing, or you got 4K 60, and then you got 1080p 120 for the Series X. So Hellblade right now 120 frames per second. And this update, it is exclusive to the Xbox Series consoles, as there was obviously no need to do a PS5 version. Because the game wasn't made for those consoles, but yeah, I don't know if anybody got to try it out. I know people have been taking out their magnifying glass and trying to do their own detective ray tracing work.
They trying to look for achievements.
Listen,
they like, did you beat the game?
Smooth. They did the same shit with Spider-Man, and they did the same shit with Ratchet and Clank. The whole thing with Hellblade, first of all, I never played Hellblade. Like, I don't like Ninja Theory because they fucked up Dante from Devil May Cry.
Hellblade's actually a good game, though.
But every time I watch the gameplay, like the combat, I don't know, like the combat always looked off for me to be like, yeah, I don't want to try this shit. And this was when it was exclusive to PlayStation. Like, I was saying this back then, so there's no bias or anything like that. But then when I looked on Twitter and I saw Smooth say, yeah, Hellblade is trash and the combat is terrible, I never
said that. I didn't say all those. I said Hellblade's combat is horrible. I never said the game as a whole was trash. Because I even bought Hellblade on the PS4.
No, I know, Smooth. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you. Nah, but because people are bringing this up for like they give us free upgrades, right? While like.
They should be paying you $10 to pay that.
Hold on, Cole. I was gonna go there. Why Sony sometimes, not all the time, Sony sometimes charges for a $10 upgrade, or these other companies sometimes charge for a $10 upgrade. Listen to me, like as far as like the upgrades and shit like that, because I received free upgrades for like Jedi Fallen Order and whatever. I can tell the difference in quality between the free upgrades and the paid upgrades. That's all I'm saying. I tell the difference between the free upgrades and the paid upgrades, and and there's a difference in quality. You know what I mean? So as far as like the Hellblade, I saw some of the ray tracing shit that they added. Honestly, I could not tell the difference from the baked lighting in the game. I don't know if it was me or anything like that. I could not. To me, it didn't seem like a huge difference.
That's a credit to how good they did initially with the game. I thought the game looked amazing with the One X version because I played it early this year on my Series X with the performance mode, and I had a great time playing it. Yeah, if you guys haven't tried it out, definitely play the game.
Yeah, I think
it's a great game.
It's like I wanted to install just to see, how the difference it feels at 120 or see. I don't know if I'll even bother with the ray tracing mode but I played the game. I'm missing one achievement, and the sad thing about it, I probably have to play the game from the beginning to get that one achievement because it's one of those damn notes you have to read, and I can't find where I missed it. But yeah, Optimus, you and your fucking, Pegasus fucking dudes, whatever, were popping a whole lot of shit about this, and I'm just curious to see what you got to say.
Oh shit, you know what I got to say? It ain't much.
Wait, before I even get to you, let me just get to these super chats because I know this is gonna be interesting, and I don't want to forget about these super chats. So we're gonna start with Carlos. Says price is the price. Vote with your wallet. Don Taku says, I'm buying $70 games, but the budget going up by 2 times isn't a good reason they're selling 3 to 4 times as much as they did in 2006 to 2013. I think he was following up for his previous post about it's not being
But
justified.
the price has gone up more than 2 times since 2006 to 2013. That's the problem. Like I don't know, but like as a developer, my salary has increased like a lot. Like I make a lot of money just from my developer job. And if they have 100 developers that they paying like they paying me, that shit is going up. And every year I get a raise. And so if you look at 100 developers, even if they only get like just a 1% raise, then the cost has doubled just in that year alone, just from having 100 developers. And they have hundreds, plural, of developers. It is ridiculous to think that the cost has only gone up 2 times. That's a flaw.
All right. So, Optimus.
Yes, Hellblade Series X. So first, obviously at the end of the day, this has a lot to do with all of these Xbox fake tech experts talking all of this trash about the world's most powerful console and
let's go, baby.
Hardware ray tracing, and the PlayStation 5 got software-based ray tracing, and it ain't even RDNA.
Who said that?
RDNA. Oh shit! I can show you the tweets.
No, he knows. Jay knows what you're talking about.
Shit. Oh, okay.
Jay, he know what you're talking about. He told
and
no, but those people who say that, it's just they need to stop.
Oh, they all over. They everywhere. They like famous tech experts, and they talking about the technology. And me and this person got into it. I'm like, that's not true. Like, you shouldn't say that. Oh, they wanted to attack me. They ended up blocking me. All types of shit. So yeah, PlayStation got software-based ray tracing, and the Xbox Series X, the most powerful, got hardware accelerated ray tracing, and it's gonna be so superior in every way to what you get on the PlayStation. And I'm the whole time like, look, stop talking about the hardware. Let's focus on the devs, the talent, the resources, all of this stuff that actually determine a good game. They don't want to hear it. So here we go. Spider-Man comes out, just like Chris said, they got their magnifying glass out. Oh, is that a castle over there in the corner? And
Smooth called it retarded ray tracing. Smooth said if Miles Morales had retarded ray tracing, that shit had me dying. That shit had me dying.
That's right. All of this stuff, resolution 4K, Smooth with his fake 4K. I'm like, look, native 4K is a waste. Man, I made that tweet. I've tweeted native 4K is a waste at least 5 or 6 times. Each time, Xbox dudes get more and more receptive to it. But in the beginning, right, they thought that the Series X could run 60 frames at native 4K with ray tracing and all of this stuff. I'm like, look, like even the top graphic cards paired with the top processor is going to struggle doing that. Like, stop saying that stuff. Nope, they don't want to hear it. So now here
So
they
we're doing it consistently. Depending
right.
on the title, certain engines are more demanding than other engines. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
But that, and
depending
that's
on the
my
game that you're
point.
playing is going to dictate that.
Yes, and that is my point. To think that hardware is what determines this stuff. I've said I don't know how many thousand times I've said dev skill and talent, tools and compilers, time and resources. That is what makes a great game. They didn't want to hear it. You talking about the Xbox hardware and you a fake dev, on and on. Okay, well here we go. So now the first wave of games, you all know what happened. Phil Spencer's like, man, we gotta examine why this advantages to the PS5, and
The
everybody's waiting on
tools.
the tools, waiting on the
Yeah.
tools, all of this stuff. So now, when a few games dropped, and apparently the tools are here now, right? So now that excuse is gone. But every time, right, it's some excuse. They promised this pie in the sky. The results is this other thing, but then there's an excuse why it's that other thing. But you just wait. It's going to be this pie in the sky. So we go to the next round. Okay, you just wait. It's going to be this pie in the sky. So here they come with a stealth drop. Now, all credit to them. I think that they did a great job for their fan base to give you here's an update, while we work on Hellblade 2. Like, I think the spirit of what they did is excellent. But this isn't the problem. The problem is the fan base, people like you, Smooth, have talked so much shit that now you, Smooth, are writing checks that you don't have to cash. You writing checks that these developers have to cash, and they can't cash them because that Series X hardware cannot do all the shit that y'all claiming it can do. It just can't. And so here we go. Performance
You
mode.
you don't think Series X
1080p.
can run games at 60 frames with ray tracing? Would compromise ray tracing?
With
No,
native
it can't. It
4K?
can.
With native 4K? Hold on.
I mean,
You
it already
saying-
does that with Resident Evil 8, but
You saying native 4K, 60 frames a second with ray trace reflections.
it depends on what. Right now,
Depends on the
both
game,
Call of
really.
Duty and Resident Evil 8 is able to hit 4K 60 with their ray trace implement.
I don't think it's native. I don't
Native
think it's native.
4K.
They can't
is
tell.
the
They
best.
can't.
on
They
the
can't
Series S.
distinguish
Are you talking about Series
Resident
S or
Evil if Resident Evil is not native or not because they don't get a count below native 4K.
So I can tell
I
you
don't
for
know.
sure the same thing that I've been saying along. So you asked that question perfectly. And the answer to that question is, do I think the Series X hardware can do XYZ, blah, blah, blah? The answer to that question is what I've been saying all along. No, but the question is invalid. And the question doesn't even matter because it is the dev skill and talent. Some games, based on the developer, the game engine, how the engine is built, what compromises they make, they may be able to squeeze out those metrics. Another game may not. Why? Because that hardware can't just do those things. It takes a lot of work and effort to make those things happen. And the Xbox hardware is not this magic panacea that y'all tried to make it out to be. It's not.
It
It
is.
is
It's
the same.
magically running over 100 games at 120 frames per second. But before I get into that,
Man, yeah, that's a
shout out,
I noticed you skipped over that up to 1080p, which means it's running less than 1080p.
but we seen Dirt 5 do that shit as well. And then and like, you know what I mean? We can talk about to this up.
Yeah,
Get
but
the
it's the
super chat,
same. But
man.
it's the
Get the
same.
super
it's-
chat.
I mean,
Go ahead, go ahead.
there's a super chat, but before I get to that, I gotta give a shout out to Doc 1985, who joined us because I had to have him in just in case you started talking spicy, and I want to make sure he's able to rap.
up,
So
Doc?
Doc, say what up.
What up, everybody? There's levels
Oye,
to this.
¿Qué es lo que hay?
Doc,
¿Qué es lo que hay?
Tranquilo, papi, tranquilo, tú sabes lo que es. But yo, I gotta admit, hey,
We
Smooth.
Puerto Ricans. That's what you're talking. We
Oh,
Puerto
that's
Ricans.
what's up. It's Smooth. Thank you for the invite, man. I really appreciate it. What's up, chat? I gotta say something though, man. I love to hear Optimus speak because there's no one in this gaming industry or this gaming talk that we have that's as pimp as he is. The way he puts those words together, boy,
man, stop it.
he'll make you buy whatever he's
watched
selling.
those videos quite a few times. You had a good one too, Doc. I was like, look at Doc talking shit. He was like, because all my games on Game Pass is free, right? Because y'all told me I paid $180 for MLB The Show.
Yeah.
So now all of my games are free, right? I'm like, oh, okay, shit, Doc.
It's true. Make it make sense. No, but listen, I want to speak on what you just spoke about, Optimus, because
What up?
what you said right there is that's deep. Because I'm one of those people, and I'll admit it to everybody on the panel and to everyone in the chat. Once I started making these YouTube videos, I really realized how serious some of these gamers are. I'm not even close to the level of y'all on the panel and people in the chat. I'm for sure of it, right? So you guys, some of you guys are really, really technical, and then some of you guys are really, really gamers. Like y'all ain't, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So now that I, a little bit deeper into this and I see what level this is at, I just sit back and I listen. And Code, you're definitely one of the ones that I respect and I listen. And I heard your video where you talk about the difference between pixels, right? You talk about 4K and
Image quality
1080p.
versus resolution. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You talk about how it is about the talent and all this other stuff. And I got to be honest with you, I got to admit, for me, I was big on, the most powerful console, and I did believe the hype. I definitely did. So I got myself an Xbox Series X. Now, I don't regret it at all. But when I saw your video, you showed me that it is kind of difficult, if you really, really, really think about it, to tell the difference between native 4K and the upsampling technology that these
Yes.
people do, right? It's
Yes.
it's extremely difficult to tell that, right? But
Yes.
you know what is something that you can notice right off the bat?
Frame rate.
The difference between 60 and 120.
Frame
And the
rate.
Xbox Series X has more games right now that run at 120. So as far as
And why is that? Why is that? Why does the Xbox Series X have like what like what is the because I want to know if y'all understand what the reason for that is.
No,
You know what I mean?
I know, I do, because it runs backwards compatibility games better.
Because
That's
it has
why.
because it has the feature because it has that feature where everything is in one, like the SDK, right? So they can unlock.
But you gotta understand this. You gotta understand this, bro. I'm not a technical person, so all I care
Yeah.
about is when I'm playing, can I play it at 120? Can I feel it smoother than I played it last time? And yes, I can. I don't care why it does it. All I want to know is why can't the PS5 do it with the same number of games? Now, I give the PS5 props. Listen, I made a video where I talked about that 120 that the Warzone was running on the PS5 and it was doing it better, even though the resolution wasn't as good. And what I said was when you're playing the game at 120, especially a competitive game, you don't really care about the resolution like that. You're trying to get the most frames as possible, so your input lag is less, right?
Because when your PC gamers play Call of Duty, they turn off grass,
drop
turn
everything.
off shadows, trees. They want to remove every much detail as possible so they can spot the players.
Right. But the thing, but again, the frames you could definitely tell. So when you're playing games, if you're hitting 120, so you guys, I heard you guys like kind of making fun of Xenoblade or whatever. But isn't that game? Aren't they giving us
making fun of who?
Hellblade.
What
He made
game?
Hellblade.
Hellblade, right?
Yeah, no, the game.
They were making fun of it.
Yeah,
I
whole
wasn't.
different game.
But isn't that game going to give us 120?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so then,
But if you don't like the game, what does that matter?
No. How do you know I don't like it? What are you talking about?
No. I'm just saying for like anybody because to me it's like I hear all this. First of all, I don't even have a fucking TV that runs anything at 120.
Okay,
most people don't have TVs that run, but for the ones that do like understand that and shit like that. And the PS5, like the game, like for example, like Devil May Cry, like Special Edition. I bought it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
That has 120 FPS mode on the PS5, Call of Duty Black. So it's not like PS5 can't do 120 FPS. It's because since the PS5 architecture is different from the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro.
Yeah.
Finish
getting his bars
Right.
off.
That's good. What you said is correct. But the way when you're explaining it like that to that technical term, all I hear is Xbox did it better. That's all I hear. That's all I hear. You can explain. No, I'm not done yet, Optimus. Hold on. Okay. So that's all I get from a layman's person. So you're talking about those person because you can't have a really technical person, right? That's all about these graphics and all about these frames, and then out of the other side of the mouth, say that they won't have a monitor that plays 120 or a TV, whatever. So to the layman's person that wants to just play video games, right? And what I learned is that we are still playing old games. Both Sony fans and Xbox fans are still currently playing old games, okay? Unless you guys are only playing Ratchet and Clank, Buck Snatch, and Returnal, which some of you guys already platinum there, right? I call it whatever I call it, Buck Snackety Snack, whatever, or Astrobot again, right? You guys we're all playing old games, right? So if we're playing old games,
how do you know I'm playing an old game?
No, I don't. So that's what I said. You might be playing Ratchet and Clank over and over again, which is fine. That's cool.
No.
But here's the thing.
There's a new game that came out last week called Elder Souls.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's good. That runs at 120?
I don't fucking know. Like here's the thing. You're talking about like the casual and the layman's, right? The casual and the layman's don't even know what the fuck 120 hertz is. They don't even know what that shit is.
No, but you can feel it. Don't cap now. You could grab a casual.
All right,
You
so
could grab
let
a casual.
me jump in here.
It's advertised on the box. It's on the box of the system.
Yeah, but
No. What I'm saying is this. I agree with Optimus, bro. You could grab a casual, put him in front of a TV, show him a 4K a video game, and show him a 1080p the same game, and good luck for them trying to tell you which one is which, right?
Oh,
okay,
As
let
far
me
as
jump
having them
in.
play
Let me
60
jump
and
in,
having them
Doc,
play
because,
120, they can tell the difference. See, that's the problem, man. Y'all don't want to give anything to Xbox, and I don't know what
Doc.
to you guys. I don't know if that's to pay you guys as child support. I don't know what happened, man.
You going
Like, you
through
don't want
like
to give nothing.
a bull in the china shop, man. Slow your ass down, Doc.
Go
Look
ahead,
here,
Optimus.
I gotta treat you with respect, because Rock, he out serving his country, and he said to take care of his little brother while he away. So
I appreciate you.
I'm gonna try to do this with respect.
Go ahead.
Number one, so a lot of the shit that you're saying is bullshit and it don't add up, and I'll tell you why. Number one, you can't go from layman's don't understand technology, what they looking at, so on and so forth, and then try to mix that in the conversation with a next gen console where a layman is apparently comparing between a PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and they have no idea why they comparing the two or what they expecting to get or what's what.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so if I am a layman, a casual gamer,
Me, I'm a
why am I
casual gamer.
choosing? Huh?
Me, I'm a casual gamer. Hands
Okay,
down.
so you,
Yeah,
so
yep.
you a casual gamer. So how
Yep.
did you choose an Xbox over a PS5? You said because the world's most powerful console,
Right.
and you bought into that. So clearly, you did have some idea of the things that we're talking about with the technology.
I had some idea, right? But like my man tried to explain how the backwards compatibility stuff works. I don't
You
understand
might not
that.
know all of that, but you do
Right.
understand that there is a technological conversation going on, and you're gonna have to understand tech at some point to participate.
No, that's not true. I understand better. The same reason 90% of people that buy iPhones think that the iPhone is better than the Samsung. Even if it is, a lot of them don't even know why. They just buy it because of the hype of Apple.
If a
Exactly, it doesn't matter.
Right, they're buying it because of Apple brand loyalty. They're not buying it because of some technological reason.
Not necessarily. There's plenty of people that switch over to iPhones because
I don't
somebody
know
else
that.
told them
You
it was
know,
better.
how many?
Not the
I
majority.
don't know. I
It's
don't go
not
for
the
these.
majority.
A lot of people, plenty of people, most people. Where substantiate that claim, because I don't believe.
Wait. So what you're telling me is that Apple doesn't get new users?
They
No,
do,
I'm
but
telling
not
you
because
that
not
you.
Come on, now you
majority.
see how
I'm
y'all
telling
like
you
to argue?
that you,
doesn't make
Doc
sense.
Dark, do not know how many people buy iPhones or why. So you cannot tell me in this conversation why people are buying iPhones to match your point.
So then that's
But
the
what
same
you
reason.
can tell me is
What
about
can I
you,
say?
and what you said for yourself is that you, Doc Dark, bought a next gen Xbox specifically because you bought into the power hype, which meant you, Doc Dark, identify as a casual but still are participating in tech conversation. So you can't then say, well, I don't want to talk about the tech.
Well, hold
Yeah.
on. But I didn't say I didn't want to. I'm talking about the tech. If I didn't want to talk about the tech, I wouldn't be on this podcast. What are you
Okay,
talking
so
about?
then if we're gonna talk about the tech, then you can't use as an escape route.
As a layman,
Well, I
I'm a
don't
layman.
understand
Yeah.
it. All I know is what I see.
No, yes, I can because I can't. Just because I want to talk about the tech doesn't mean that I got to understand
No.
everything about it. Come on now.
No, I say understand
So
everything
don't talk
about
about
it.
the tech.
Don't put
No.
words in my mouth. I didn't say understand everything about it either.
Okay, so what I
But if you're
understand.
gonna talk about the tech, you have to be able to talk about the tech. Otherwise,
but-
you're talking about things you don't
So
understand.
can we
But
qualify
I-
what he means by being a casual gamer? When you say you're a casual gamer, you're saying that you play games, you're aware of the tech, but you're not in deep like we are when we're talking about different like techniques with engines and stuff
Of
like
course,
that.
of
About
course, yep.
The specifics in
So
terms
then
of
you
how
do
the
understand the
hardware
difference between backwards compatible
Yeah,
and a
we got-
game that's made to take advantage of the new hardware.
Actually,
you
you know how I can prove to you guys that I did not understand that because I have a video.
Stop. Whoa. You're
You don't
not
have-
talking alone. I'm
Hold
not
on.
saying you did or didn't understand it. I'm saying you have to pick one. Either
What?
you
What
want
do you
to
mean I
talk about tech because, Doc,
That's
either
not the way.
you
No.
want to talk about tech or you don't. Pick one.
Why do I got to pick one though? I want to talk about the tech that I know to my point. It's like
Well, I'm
if
sure
I'm
you do want to talk about what will
Yeah.
prove your point, but the
no.
question
I want
is,
to prove my point. Is what I'll talk to my point. Yo, Optimus, I literally gave you props. Like you taught me something.
yes, but you in
Okay,
this
you know
conversation,
what? You know
what you're
taught me
doing, you're
something
saying,
because you allowed me to talk about tech. So if you're gonna tell me that I can't talk about tech because I
no,
don't know
I
at
didn't say
all,
you didn't
that
talk
makes no
about no.
sense.
No, that's not what I'm saying. And
See
if
what
I
you're trying to do right
finish
now.
a
I know what you're
sentence,
trying to do. I told you guys he's a pimp.
no, I'm not.
He's trying to discredit me. That's what he's
Well, I'm
trying to
not
do.
trying to
No,
discredit.
He's
he's
trying
saying
to
if you're gonna
discredit me.
talk
No,
about
I'm
he's
saying
saying
we're
if
gonna
you're gonna
play
talk
by the
about
same
tech,
rules. I'm
yeah.
saying you, Doc,
Yeah.
you cannot talk about things you do not understand. You can talk about the stuff you do understand. But
Okay, fair.
according to
Okay.
you said you don't understand none of the tech. All you know is what you feel when you look at your screen.
Fair enough. Okay, go.
So you may want to adjust that, and that's fine. But be more specific. Do you want to
Okay.
talk about tech or not?
No, I want to talk about how the games feel. The games feel better on the Xbox Series X.
Okay,
What
right
games?
now.
Which games? Which games?
Well, it
All
don't
the
matter. It don't matter. From his point of view, it doesn't matter, and he's right about
I
that
would
part.
say over 100 of them.
So here is the thing, Doc.
Yeah.
And I know you tried to jump in and discredit the old game stuff, which is pretty funny. Y'all know where y'all weaknesses are, and you definitely did a good job of trying to take that off the table, but ain't nobody falling for that bullshit.
talking
Number
about.
one, the PlayStation has a combination of new gaming experience and old gaming experience.
Doesn't
So it is
Xbox
not
as of
the
today?
case. Hold on, Smooth. One at a time. Shit, man, can a brother finish a paragraph around these parts, man?
Yo, I love Optimus. Yo, Optimus, you the dude, dog. Go ahead.
So, I mean, no, we can go back and forth, but shoot, let me know the rules.
Go ahead.
At the end of the day, you have an Xbox
Mhm.
that specializes in running old games. So for you, for games that was made for the PS4 or the Xbox One X. And so from your point of view, what I'm hearing you say is, well, I know it's a next gen console. I know it's not doing that for new games, but since everybody's playing old games, then my console runs old games better.
I'm
But
not-
since everybody's playing old games, I might as well just take the shortcut and say it runs all games better.
No.
So you do understand the difference between old games and games made specifically for the Series X.
Because y'all could say these things, but on the flip side, I could say,
No,
well,
let him answer that, Chris. I want to
hold
hear.
on, real quick. And I'm gonna let him answer because
Go
y'all
ahead.
sit here and say, oh, we got all these backwards compatible games like more like at 120 FPS. That's why you enjoy Xbox better. That's fine. That's completely fine. But at the same time, I could say, well, PlayStation 5 has more games running, has more next gen games running at 60 with ray tracing. Does that make PlayStation 5 better?
Well,
No.
hold on, Chris. Let's not confuse him.
Go ahead. Answer, Coach.
Do you understand the difference between
Answer your question.
an
Answer your
old
question again.
game? Do you understand the difference between an old game running in back compat versus a game made specifically for the Series X?
My question
Do I-
is, I'm sorry, but why y'all keep pointing to back compat as that's the only games running at 120 on Xbox?
Oh my God.
That's not the
So
case.
much
But go ahead. Answer the question, Doc. My
Because that's
bad.
the
My
only
bad.
thing that y'all point to. Because all of the cross-gen games that have come out since the launch of these consoles.
Well, no, hold on. Let me answer
Go
that.
ahead,
Let me
go
answer
ahead.
that, Chris. Because Smooth, you just asked me why do y'all keep saying? I don't know why y'all keep saying it. I can tell you why I'm saying it and why I'm addressing Doc. The reason I'm saying it is because Doc just came on this show and said that the games feel better at 120. And being a casual gamer that don't understand tech, that's all he sees and that's all he knows, and so he don't care about none of the other stuff. That's why I'm asking him.
Okay, so you want me to say, so you want to know if I understand the difference between an old game and a new game, essentially.
Nope. I want to know, do you
Say it again.
understand the difference in a game made specifically for the Series X and one that was not?
No, I already told you I don't.
Okay, well, let me tell you. It's real easy to understand. A game that is made specifically for the Series X takes advantage of all of the new features that the Series X has to offer. A game that was not made for the Series X was built for Xbox One, and it runs on the Series X, and whatever they can do with like boost mode and all of this stuff, they have technology to get that old game to run at higher frame rates, but that game was not built for the Series X. It was built for last gen consoles. And so it is not taking advantage of any of the new features of the Series X. It is taking advantage of a software feature that they have called FPS boost.
Wait, so you're telling me that games are gonna get better on the X when they start using all the features?
That's
Oh my
was
God,
the
I'm so
expectation.
excited.
And now we arrive at
my God.
Hellblade,
I
goddamn
am
it.
so
Yes,
excited.
you're right. That's what they thought, right? Yeah, right. That's
Wait,
what
what?
that's what the lie was, but here we are as the games that's dropping that actually are built for the Series X. We find, oh well, shit, we got to get a patch. Okay, well, wait. Well, ray
Wait,
tracing is
what game?
Well,
What game is built
Hellblade
for the
wasn't
Series
built for the
X?
Series
I
X.
want
What are
to
you
know.
talking about?
well,
Yeah,
right
what game is
now.
built for the Series X?
Well, Hellblade is one that we're using as the current example.
But that's
Well,
not built.
Hellblade-
That's a standard
Yeah,
upgrade that
that's
the
an
other games
upgrade.
got.
That's a
No,
back. That's a
no,
back compact
Oh,
game that wasn't made.
no,
for
absolutely not.
Oh, got him.
Absolutely
Don't do
not.
God,
No,
Hellblade
y'all-
came out last
y'all
gen.
can't-
What are you
not-
talking about?
I don't,
Damn,
I don't,
man.
I don't want to hear.
Oh,
I don't
God,
want to hear
I've
that
been
shit.
studying you,
Because
baby.
Miles
I've been
Morales was on
studying
the
you,
PS4.
baby. I knew it. You
I
got
don't want to hear
that, bro.
because Miles Morales was on the PS4 as
It's
well.
not-
Hellblade
it
is the
wasn't-
last gen game.
It wasn't built around the PS5. It uses some of the PS5 feature set. but it
Hellblade
doesn't
wasn't
fully
built around
utilize
the Xbox.
PS5.
Absolutely
Xbox
not.
was-
The-
Xbox
so
was a
right
brother-
now, everybody
No,
is
Hold on, let me talk,
everybody's all
What
frustrated.
Damn, you
because
got.
Everybody's
You got-
frustrated because the Ghost of Tsushima release is coming up and
Oh,
for
change the
$10
subject.
more.
What game was built for the
No,
Xbox
no,
Series
All right,
X?
let him finish. Let him
No,
What
finish.
game is built? No, I want to know. I'm
Everybody
excited.
is
He's telling me that
frustrated.
game
Let him
is
finish. Let him finish.
Everybody is frustrated because you have to pay $10 to get the version of Ghost of Tsushima that was actually built for the PS5. And so there is two versions of Ghost of Tsushima.
I
There
doubt it was
is
built
the
for it.
old
Okay.
one for the PS4, which Smooth claims, well, he bought the PS4 when he should get the PS5 one for free. And then there is the actual PS5 version. When you look at Hellblade, there is the old one for the One X, and then there is the Series S and X version, which is the one that we was talking about, which was built specifically using all of the hardware of this and the features.
No,
of
it's
this.
not.
You know this?
No,
You
it's
can
not.
guarantee
No,
this?
it's not. No, it is
Ain't seen
not.
that
Hold
game
on,
in
hold
8
on.
years.
That's
Who's
a
your
lie.
insider? So they
ray
rebuilt this game from the
tracing.
ground up for the Xbox Series X?
No,
Is that what you're telling me?
that is a remake. Then they don't have to remake.
Oh,
They
you
can
capping
remake
hard, bro.
Ghost
I've
of
never seen you
Tsushima
cap,
for
bro.
the
You know you don't know that.
Oh,
I've never seen you cap, Cole. Don't do that to yourself,
I'm
bro.
not capping.
You
No,
are
no,
cap.
look.
You don't know. So you can say for sure that this game was built specifically for the Xbox Series X, Code.
Yes.
Oh my God!
no,
Wow,
no,
bro.
no,
Yo,
no.
chat, it's
We're not
over,
gonna-
dog.
we're not gonna let
It's
you.
over,
We're not gonna
dog.
let you do this because here's something that the Xbox Series X has that hasn't fully been utilized, and that's the DirectX 12 Ultimate API. There's no game using mesh shading. There's barely any games using VRS at all. The only thing that they're using
That
is
is not
DirectX
true.
ray
Stop
tracing.
it. So Gears
Damn, Cole,
is
this
using
is not good,
VRS.
Cole.
No,
this is not good,
Let me
Cole.
finish. Let me finish. I said barely.
Well, you're
okay?
saying barely
Okay?
in the context like it's
I
not
said,
happening.
I said barely for
So
what
then
you
you
call
admit that there are
VRS.
games that are
but
using
there's
Not
no-
like this,
there's-
Cole. Not like
but there's
this, bro.
There's no game using mesh shading. Name me a single game that's using mesh shading.
Okay, look. At the
Let
end of
go
the day,
of the DualSense.
at
Was
the
it
end of the
Doom
day,
using?
the difference. All right, well, let me ask you this, Doc, Mister. I don't understand technology. What
Yeah,
is
man.
the difference in Hellblade that was for the Xbox Series S and X versus the old one?
It's just gonna run. It's just gonna run better. What are you talking about?
No, that's
What is
no,
the
no.
difference in the back compat version of Hellblade versus the one that is specifically for Series X and X that can only run on Series S and X?
Well, you know, I don't know that.
I can answer that. Here's the thing: the Hellblade for Xbox Series X and S and the Hellblade for Xbox One X, they actually share the same exact modes. It's just that those same exact modes on Series X, they're just different. The performance mode on the One X is 60, where on the Series X, the performance mode
That
is
has
120.
nothing to
The
do with
enriched
what the game
visuals
was
on the
built
One
for.
X is 4K. The enriched visuals on the Series X is ray tracing. Those
Completely
they're
irrelevant.
taking the same DNA. There's just that on the next gen consoles, it's a little
Absolutely
bit more.
not.
Okay,
Completely-
okay.
Yeah,
Completely irrelevant. The
but
Xbox X version of Hellblade can only run on the Xbox Series X and S because they rebuilt it specifically targeting the hardware of that platform.
Can I ask you
cannot
something,
run on
Cole?
any other Xbox.
Okay, can I
The
ask you something,
exact
Cole?
same way that the new Ghost of Tsushima PS5 version can only run on the PS5.
Okay, I ask you something. I ask something to Code. This I'm not being funny. I mean, this is legit. So when I go to Game Pass right now and I look at Hellblade, it says optimized, right, for the Xbox Series X. Now, there's a lot of games on there that say optimized. So, do all those games fall under the same category? Like, I'm legitimately like all those games were rebuilt for the Xbox Series X, or what does
that is
optimized mean? So, Assassin's
that's
Creed
what it
Valhalla
means.
was optimized, was built for the Xbox Series X.
Yes.
Hold on,
That
Cole.
is
I
the
don't
point
understand.
of the GDK.
Hold on. Okay,
Whoa.
so hold on.
Yes.
So tell
Come
me,
on,
tell
Cole.
me the difference.
Yes. Goddamn, how many
Hold
times
on,
you
hold
want me to say it? Yes.
Hold on. So
That's
so
what
tell
the
me,
GDK does.
Not like this.
Tell me the difference. Tell me the
Not like
difference.
this.
Tell me the difference between because like from PS4 to PS5, they always said, like, which is one of the reasons why, like, a lot of the backwards compatible games, that the Xbox, they could just patch their shit and get it at 120. But for them to do it with the PlayStation 5, they say they had to completely do a whole new version of it and build it on the PS5. But with the Series X,
I
they
don't know
always
who these people are that's saying that stuff. So you
so
have
okay, but
developers.
no, it's yeah, because why did 120 FPS come to Rocket League, right? For Xbox, but it didn't come on PlayStation because the developers say they have to build a whole new version for the PS5 specifically to get it to run like that.
It's just none of this makes sense to me.
Y'all are mixing metaphors. It does make perfect sense. Well, it might not make sense.
Before
to you
y'all
because
continue,
you
let me
admitted
take a
that you
super
don't
chat break. I
understand
gotta do a
technology.
super chat break. Super chat. Apologize for the. All right, so make sure I didn't miss any. We got Verge Brizzle. He says, "Get him, Doc. Thank you for inviting Doc Smooth. Shout out to Doc Dark." Verge
Well.
Brizzle again says, "But then none of y'all can't talk about tech. Sometimes y'all think you know more than the developers. Dopest J, etc. LOL. Doc, they'll just argue
Well, no.
nonstop.
Everybody can have an opinion. Just because you a developer, don't mean you right about everything. Developers
That's
can make
true.
mistakes like everybody else. Everybody can have an opinion, and
That's true.
especially if
Chris
it's something
Cornell.
that you
I
thought
think I
to
know
be
more
true,
than Dev.
and then somebody says something and it just seems so far in left field that it's hard for you to accept it, you absolutely positively should challenge that input no matter who you are. So I disagree that you can't have a conversation.
I never said I never questioned developers. I question them sometimes. I don't doubt what they're saying.
No, that was in
Man,
the
let's
super
move
chat, by the
on.
way. That's why I read it.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Code, that just because somebody's a developer doesn't mean they're right all the time. Because I remember that dude making that Dolphin game. He was saying some bullshit about how the PS5 isn't powerful enough to run that game at 120 FPS, and it's only going to be on the Xbox. And then a few weeks later, Call of Duty, fucking Devil May Cry, and all these games started coming out at 120 FPS on the PS5. So you're right. Some developers do be on some bullshit.
Shout out to DJ Birdos. DJ Birdo Dose says $2. It was optimized just AC Valhalla code capping. Donataku says code is all cap. When Hellblade was made, the Series X wasn't even a thought to Ninja Theory. Miles Morales was being made for PS5 alongside PS4. Verge Brizzle says Chris, not Dopest J. I get him mixed up. Oh, so he meant Chris, not you, Dope.
Oh yeah, Chris, that's you, bro.
Damn.
Okay, so what have I said? Okay, if he don't answer back in 5 minutes of what I've said wrong, you get blocked.
Damn.
Whoa.
No, because he
wasn't
saying that I'm sitting here lying.
Back to the conversation. So the problem is that a lot of these people that's talking, especially these I'm not gonna really attack the supporter Smooth. So especially a lot of these buffoons in the super chat do not understand what the GDK is. The specific point of the GDK, which is the game development kit from Xbox, is developers have multiple configurations that they have to build games for. They have hundreds of PC configurations. They have an Xbox One configuration. They have a Series S and a Series X configuration. And that would require special tools and special effort to go to optimize, and that, which actually is kind of still there. And that stuff is being worked on. And that's what part of the whole tools conversation was. But the whole point of the GDK is to unify everything under one code base so that you can build everything once, pick specific targets in the GDK, and then have DirectX and DirectX Ultimate, Dopest J, have those features targeted for the specific build that you want in the dev kit, and you can build for the Series X. Then the parts that have to be modified for Xbox One Then those pieces come out and you substitute new DLLs and new feature sets for those that are catered to that box. But when they rebuilt Hellblade, I don't know, he's like, it's optimized. What the fuck you think optimized means? Like they waved a wand at it? What are you talking about? The game was rebuilt specifically for the Xbox Series X and S. So what they did was they adjusted the settings. They used new XDK methods that would give them benefits that they couldn't get on the other machine. Now, did they go remaster assets and do new character models and that type of stuff? No, that's more of a remake or a remaster. But what they did was they rebuilt the game, BUILD. They built a version of that game specifically for the Series X to take advantage of the Series X SDK.
Did they build it or like? Because last week on LTG, Optimus, you told me they just moved in sliders.
I got a question though. I got a question then. Because I understand what you're saying, right? So you're saying that
but that game is that is a Series S and X game.
Okay, let me finish then. Okay, all right. So Hellblade.
I need you to go back and say, okay, well, I was wrong when I said it wasn't.
Well, I didn't. I don't know if it was or if it wasn't. That's why I asked you. But here we go.
I'm telling you now that it is.
You said Hellblade was taking full advantage of Series X, and I disagree.
Okay, no. Hold on. Let me finish. That's my whole point. Hold on. No.
What do you mean full advantage? I'm saying
chill. Yo, you can't do that with code, bro. He's too much of a pimp. He's gonna break down your words.
It's like I didn't say full advantage.
Listen.
Xbox Series S and X game that is using the features for the Series S and X.
Okay, so it's a game that's using the features that's built for the Series X, right? This game was built for the Series X, right?
Yes.
Okay, so is this what I'm to expect, or for the future, or are the games that are going to come out exclusively for the Xbox Series X going to run better than this game?
Run better. So
why? If they're all built for the same game?
I was repeating your question. That's not an answer.
Okay, so tell me, please.
That answer. So those types of questions right there, those types of questions, Doc, is what gets the Xbox community into trouble with this power bullshit. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. You can't answer that question because every game is different. Every developer is different. Some developers for Xbox specifically are going to do things with their games that other developers for Xbox are not going to be able to match. And it's not because of the hardware is greater or lesser. It is the dev skill and talent, tooling and compilers, resources, and time.
Okay, I love that answer.
There is no baseline, and that's
I love that answer. I love that answer.
There is no baseline that all Xbox
I love that answer.
do this.
I love that answer.
PlayStation games do that.
I love that answer. Okay, so then I believe you. I love that answer. So that means the Xbox Series X is still the most powerful console. The reason that Hellblade runs the way it is because of the developers and the talent.
There is no most powerful console because...
How you like that? No, Code. I'm using your same words, bro. You're telling me that's because of the developers, right? Yeah. And it's not because of the hardware, right? So the developers and the talent. Okay, so the developers and the talent of Hellblade didn't know how to fully utilize the Xbox Series X because they built that game specifically for Xbox Series X.
Fully utilize. Y'all keep using that fully word over and over, but go ahead.
Okay, so utilize the Xbox Series X.
Sure. But it's not because they didn't know how to utilize it.
So let me get this straight.
Game engine is built a specific way.
And this is why y'all really don't make any sense. So y'all Sony ponies are making fun of this game, and y'all know that it's not utilizing everything.
No,
nobody's making fun of the game.
God,
nobody's making fun. People are getting at people who overhype the product as far as like how powerful.
Yeah, let's do this a different way, Doc.
Okay. It's not the game.
Because you're trying to twist this into
no.
So I need you guys to hold your thought. So
I hear what he's saying. No, okay, you explained it. He explained it. Hold on. He explained it. Got it. So you guys ain't making fun of the game. You're making fun of the people that oversold the Xbox Series X as being the most powerful, and you're using this game as an example as to why it's not. Even though you guys know.
Close.
Okay, so what are you guys doing? So what are you talking about Hellblade for? What are you talking about Hellblade for? So what are you talking about Hellblade for? Please tell me.
Close to what I'm doing, but that's not exactly what I'm doing.
No, tell me why you're talking about Hellblade then. What's the problem with Hellblade?
I will tell you what I'm trying to tell you in the order that I want to tell them. You're not going to just boss me around.
All right, but before you do that, let me just clear up these super chats.
Damn.
All right.
Yo, look at the chat, bro. That's not like this.
Donataku says Code want to talk tech, but he don't even know. LOL. You said that, Code. You said Doc can't talk.
I did not. I said Doc said that he didn't understand tech, so Doc couldn't talk about stuff that he admittedly didn't understand. So he had to choose: did he want to talk about tech or not?
All right.
Pay attention.
Verge Brizzle again says, by the way, Smooth, this is my top 3 podcast. Thank you. I'm curious to know the other 2, but I appreciate it. Ghostface Killer says, instead of trying to argue with him, you should be listening to understand him. Optimus is correct. Oh, this has got to be a PlayStation guy.
Why? Why, man?
Because he says Optimus.
You can feel it. He blowing up right now.
This is bias and emotions.
This is what I'm saying, Doc, and I hope that this answer you can understand what I'm saying. And don't interrupt.
My bad.
What I'm saying is the Xbox community has this belief that the Xbox Series X is so powerful that, and according to Aaron Greenberg, well, Aaron Greenberg only said part of this, but the Xbox Series X community exaggerated and ran with the rest of it. The Xbox community believes that the Xbox hardware is so powerful that you can put any game on it and you will have a minimum of 60 frames, 4K with ray tracing, and everything just goes up from there because it doesn't matter how trash the developers are. The hardware is so great that it is going to make up for anything. Like if you got a PC and you got a 3090 Ti and you got a 10900K and you got 400 gigs of RAM, it doesn't matter what you put on that PC, you're going to have super frames and all max settings because the hardware itself is so great that the dev skill and talent doesn't matter. The hardware will do it all. That is the promise that these dudes have been preaching all over Twitter for almost a year. Mm-hmm. And when the result, and then there have been some people saying, stop doing that. Those are unrealistic expectations. The Xbox Series X has strengths. It has weaknesses. The PlayStation has strengths. It has weaknesses. It is not true that every game is just going to run better on the Xbox because it's such great hardware. It's not true that every game is going to run better on the PS5. They're going to trade blows back and forth. And the differentiator is going to be game engines are different. Some game engines, regardless of the game that's built from it, some game engines work better with the choices that Xbox made. Some game engines work better with the choices that PlayStation made. There is no hardware that is vastly superior than the other one. Stop that. And as proof of this, as games come out, we are saying, see, look, here is a game. Here are its features. Here's how it runs. Notice it doesn't match the magical native 4K 60 frame minimum with ray tracing. And so the conversation shifts to, well, it's got 120. All of this stuff. And it's because the Xbox fan base will not accept that it is the other things that matter more than the hardware. And that hardware is not a slam dunk like a high-end PC like they tried to make it to be. That is why we're talking about Hellblade.
Got it. My man, Optimus.
Not just that. It's because like Hellblade is gonna look good on this series. Like I don't have any problems with the game. I don't really have that much problem with Xbox, other than they don't really have a lot to offer me personally. But it's the fan. It's some of the not all of the fans. Not all of the fans.
Exaggerations.
There's some cool ass Xbox dudes that I'm real cool with, right? Even some of the fan, but like Smooth, right? But it's some of the exaggeration of the fan base, and then what they make fun of PlayStation for. But then when Xbox runs into that same, I won't even say it's an issue, but it has that same results, right, on some of their games. You know what I mean? It's like they never keep the same energy. One example I like to bring, for example, like Returnal, right? Returnal, they made fun of it because it's 1080p, even though they said it's reconstructed into 4K, and you're still getting like a 4K image. But all they ran with,
it's reconstructed to 1440p and then
or whatever, right?
Up to 4K.
Okay. Like what Smooth just said, right? No, that's true. Like what Smooth just said, right?
Memorized,
right? But then Halo Infinite comes out, right? And they talk about, we have a 4K 120 mode, right? And then when they do the test, it's like, I think it's like somewhere like between 1080p and 1440p. It jumps around. But they said the reason why they call it 4K is because it's reconstructed to 4K, nobody says anything about it. Nobody say, "Oh, it's
feel you.
straight
I feel you.
4K."
But it's running 120 frames. That's why.
Let me speak on
They're
what
still
what
doing
you
the
both said right there.
reconstruction shit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
they
yeah,
still ran with the 4K.
Yeah, they
I
reconstructed
feel
it, but it looks good. The return of reconstruction sometimes looks rough, like blurry.
Man, stop it.
Hold on. I
I was just on the game just now. I was playing this while you guys were going at it.
Man, clean your
let me-
glasses, bro.
Yeah, he
Let me-
did die.
let me
He
say
did. I got a notification. He died.
Listen. I want to speak on what Optimus said because Optimus explained that perfectly. And me and Optimus have spoken before. We've been on P-Rock's podcast and everything. So for you guys that don't know, like especially the panel again, thank you for having me on. I did believe that hype. I'll be honest with you. I did. And I was wrong for believing that hype of how powerful the Xbox Series X was. And to this day, I get upset when games run the same. Because to me, the Xbox Series X was supposed to be more powerful. So I understand the frustration and how you guys, the way you explained it there, Code, that makes sense. Like, yes, okay, I get it. So everyone was talking about how much more powerful the Xbox Series X was going to be, 3080 Ti, whatever it was that they were going to talk about. And then, yes, so I call it out every single time a game runs better on the PS5, regardless, because I bought the Series X, and that was one of the things that I was sold on was more powerful. Not the same, not similar, but more powerful. So I understand that right there, Cole. So that makes sense why you guys are talking about Hellblade. Now that I admitted that, can you admit that Hellblade was built for the Xbox One? And
Originally or
and,
now?
And that optimized doesn't mean that they remade the game for the Xbox Series X.
I didn't say it. Okay, I will admit that they didn't remake the game, but I didn't say that. I said they rebuilt it, and they did. They rebuilt that game specifically for the Series X. That is not the same as a remake.
So all games that are optimized are rebuilt for the Xbox Series X.
Yes, that's the only way to do it, right?
My boy going down that hill. My boy going down that hill. Okay.
So you're talking about when it's optimized and it takes advantage of the Series X feature, like ray tracing and shit like that. That's when you're saying that it's built because you're not talking about. Obviously, you're not talking about shit like FPS boost, right? Because that's obviously not.
No, not that. No,
that's a difference.
No, that is a backwards compatibility feature. That is not even a feature that is for a new game on the Series X. So most developers will use Visual Studio, which is a tool from Microsoft, and they will have a dev kit, and the dev kit, the SDK will have targets. And there is a command called a build. It's like the build step includes gathering all your assets, recompiling everything, patching everything up, getting it together into what's known as an executable, .exe. Y'all know what those are. That's how those .exes are created from a thing known as the build process, BUILD. Every time a new patch comes out or whatever, it is a new build because they have to take the code, make some changes, and then rebuild it every single time. When you have a game that targeted one platform, you have to port it to the other platform, and then you have to build it on that platform. And then in doing that, you have the opportunity to take advantage of features and things that you didn't when the game was originally made because it didn't exist.
Smart delivery, baby.
And to the extent that your engine, like, because there's only so much you can do, and Dope Boy was right on that part, right? Like, they're not taking advantage of every feature in the Series X because the engine is going to have to be modified to do that stuff.
Yeah, they have to add things like mesh shading because they're not using that. You can
they
get
need next gen engines and shit like that.
You're right. So
but then you also have like PS5 where they have the geometry engine and it's easier to use because they've been using primitive shaders for like God knows how long. It's just a newer version of it that they're more familiar with. So that's why
when they rebuild the game, Doc, what they do is they find out what other SDK methods are available to use, what other API calls they can make, how will DirectX handle it. They do some testing. They may improve some assets and that stuff. And once they get all that stuff up, absolutely, they rebuild it again for the Series X and S, and it can only run on those platforms. That .exe that you have for Series X, if there was no smart delivery and you took that same .exe and you put it on a 1X or a 1S, it wouldn't run.
Okay, so to everybody in the chat that's saying, the code is wrong, you don't know what he's talking about or whatever. Listen, y'all got a free invite to come in here and explain exactly what he's wrong about.
Shout out to DJ Burrow Doss for $2. He said Code and Jim make a perfect dance partner. Dance moves. Oh.
So hey, so I got a question then for me, right? The casual gamer here. So I want to be able to play these games as smooth as possible. And Code, you explained to me in your video how resolution really doesn't matter that much, right? And I
Once you
agree
get
with
so
you.
high, yeah,
Right. Frames matter way more, right? So
I think so.
I
Yeah.
agree too. Frames matter way more. So I want to play the most games at the highest frames that I can.
What kind of games? What
What
kind of
box do I
games are you
get?
talking about, though?
No, no, I just it doesn't matter. It's just the most games right now. What
All right,
games? What
so
box
the
do I get?
majority of games that you're getting on Series X and also PS5 are running at 60, which is what everyone was complaining about last generation. So from that
Yeah.
standpoint, you have a way more performance system. From a CPU standpoint, from storage is the biggest upgrade, honestly, and the CPU. Those are the two biggest things you got an upgrade for. So inherently, your games are gonna run better. It's like we said earlier.
On what?
It's based on your Xbox Series X, and it's been
Oh, okay,
happening.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have games that are meeting that baseline of 60 frames. Some of them are hitting 120. So, like, if you compare what you're playing on right now versus like a One X or an Xbox One, it's a huge leap right there. So I don't know what you mean in regards to like more performance from games because
Well,
you're
he's
already
saying
getting
that
it right now.
he said between the PS5 and the Xbox Series X,
Well,
regardless of
it's
how
more.
it's happening or why, there are more 120 FPS games on the Xbox Series S, and it doesn't matter what kind they are.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And going forward in the future, we can't say which one's going to have more. Correct?
Yeah,
And
because
the,
Yeah,
and
that's what
the,
I'm
and
predict.
the,
we
Yeah.
in
have
the
to see how
future,
those games are gonna perform when they come
and,
out.
in the
Yeah.
future, in the future, okay, so once we get out the phase of cross gen, right, and backwards
Yeah.
compatibility, which is
Yeah.
gonna happen in about 2 years, and we
Yeah.
start getting just next gen games, I believe like both of these consoles, whenever there's multi-plats, right, specifically the Series X and the PS5, the Series S that's a whole another thing, but they're gonna have the same performance. Like I don't think it's gonna be no crazy like it's gonna be the next Call of Duty in 2 years from now, it's only going to have 120 FPS mode on the Series X and not on the PS. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like that.
All right.
They're
Yeah.
both going to pretty much going to be the same. Might be a slight little difference here, resolution, whatever. Xbox Series X may have some advantage in this part, or PS5 some advantage in that part. But essentially, it's going to be so negligible that all this arguing is just a complete waste of time.
That's a great word, Chris. Negligible. That's an excellent word.
Negligible. Erotimus says, Code wasn't when they built the new GDK. It's supposed to target the old Xbox One SDK where they didn't need to do a lot of work to get the code to work. Question.
That was my
Yeah, but I mean,
understanding.
he phrased it wrong, but yes, and that's what I was saying. The whole point of the GDK is instead of developers having to specifically optimize for multiple different configurations, the GDK has a feature where you build it in the GDK and you just specify your target, and then it does the magic for you. But the problem with the GDK earlier was it wasn't doing such a good job. And like again, as it improves, it's going to get better and better and better. And developers were wanting the ability. I don't know if I should be able to tell this part yet, but there was just some pieces missing that developers couldn't do because Microsoft wanted it all in the GDK itself. And they didn't want developers tinkering outside of the GDK. So certain things were locked to really low level programmers. And recently they have dealt with that. And now they can get access to the metal, or they want access to the metal to do specific things. And so Microsoft is now more working with the developers and making changes to the GDK and special types of math and all of this stuff. So it's definitely getting better. Like all that tool stuff is true. People laugh at it and make jokes, but that is 100% true. So yeah, the point of the GDK was to simplify development.
So I got a question, and then I got to head out. I'm sorry, Smooth. I told you I only had a little bit of time. So then, the only next gen games out, or games that were built specifically for the PS5 or Xbox Series X, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, that I'm tracking are Returnal, Ratchet and
Clank, Godfall, Destruction All Stars.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
So
Godfall was on a PS4 release.
Not yet, not yet. But yeah, once it comes to PS, then you can scratch that off the list.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay, bet. So
that release in like 2 days.
So then my question is simple, right? So those games are using the power of the PS5,
Yes.
right? Okay. So with using the power
Well,
of the
if you don't
PS,
say it like that, then it's no different than Miles Morales, a cross-gen game. That
Yeah, but
those are
Miles
We only
wasn't
mentioned
developed
the
specifically to
PS5
utilize
only
all
games,
of
okay.
PS5. Yeah, that's the
there is
thing.
no game that is utilizing all of PS5. Like there is no game that is utilizing all of the Xbox Series
But
X.
when y'all say
was
utilizing,
slick.
hold on,
That
hold on.
boy- Go
Hold
ahead,
on.
Cole.
When
All
y'all say,
right, so here's
when
what I'll
y'all
say.
hold on, hold on.
It wasn't
When
designed.
when
It
y'all
wasn't
say
designed. The game design
okay,
wasn't meant
design.
for PS5 specifically because it had to run on PS4. If they were making that game around PS5 specifically, it would not be able to run on PS4.
That's right. So can Returnal run on the PS4? I guess that's my question.
Hold on. Before that, because when y'all say it's not taking a bit, because ever since last year, early last year, when Sony, like Jim Ryan or Mark Cerny, whatever, when they talk about the PlayStation 5, they only talk about, well, I'm not gonna say they only talk about, but the main three features that they always talk about is the fast load time, the SSD, the 3D audio, and the DualSense, right? That's what they always talk about when they talk about like the next generation features of the PlayStation 5. So like with Miles Morales, Miles has all of those things plus ray tracing and all that stuff. So it is utilizing everything that they talked about. I don't know. If we're talking about game design,
Yeah,
sure,
the design
but
is a totally different thing.
but to me, because I've kind of fallen back on it, because last year I was all about that next gen game design. But the more that I've thought about games like Metal Gear Solid 3 and Breath of the Wild and shit like that, to me, I'm thinking about what is truly next gen game design when there are games that are doing shit from 10 to 20 years ago that modern day game haven't caught up to. What I'm
When you
saying,
experience that next gen game design, you will know it, and ain't
no,
nobody.
I understand that. But we don't know exactly what that is yet, because there are
For
still
me, it was Ratchet. That was my game.
So hold on. So is Ratchet and Clank a next gen game? Yes or no?
Yeah, yes.
They're all
absolutely.
next gen games.
Yeah, Returnal's the next
So
gen game.
Dope Boy
Ratchet and
had
Clank
it
is the
right.
next gen
If you
game.
are asking, were these games designed for the PS5?
Yeah.
That's one question. If you're asking, was the game built to take advantage of the PS5? That's a separate question, and those are not mutually exclusive.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it built to take advantage of the PS5?
Yes.
Sure, for sure.
It was built to take advantage of the PS5. Okay.
Like Horizon's going to take advantage of the PS5 because of the features it's going to have, and the developers even came out. They said things like volumetrics and lighting and
different waters.
Yeah, it's
water
only going to be on
So
PS5 because it's not capable on PS4.
So then why didn't they make Returnal for the PS4 then? I'm confused.
Well, because now you're talking about design again. So built for a console and designed for a console is not the same things. So you can have a design like Miles Morales. The design of Miles Morales can be accommodated on a PS4. So in pre-production, they get the design right, but then in the production phase, they build it for the PS5. So you have your design. Like right now, we have a design for a game. We could right now make a design for a game, and then that same design could be run on a Nintendo Switch, a Xbox, a 3090 Ti with a i9. It doesn't matter. The building the game and designing the game are different.
Okay, so do you guys have a game that can only run on the PS5?
Ratchet and Clank.
Okay,
and
so
Returnal.
Returnal
and this new version of Demon's Souls.
Perfect. So that game could not run on the PS4. Ratchet and Clank or Returnal.
The way that they are now, they couldn't run. If they did run, they'll have to take a lot from it.
Right. So so the version that we're seeing on the PS5 is the version for the PS5. So what I'm saying is this the best the PS5 can do?
Absolutely not.
No, it's the beginning of the generation.
It's a glimpse. It's a glimpse as to what.
It's a glimpse. Yeah,
it's only one game.
Okay.
That's every generation. Every generation, you have your games that come out, your launch games that give you a glimpse. By the middle of the generation, that's when you really start to see what the fuck these consoles can do.
Okay, fair enough. Are there any games on the Xbox Series X right now that rival Ratchet and Clank? Not in terms of fun gameplay, in terms of
a game that's coming soon that I think can only be pulled off on Series X and PC is Stalker 2. Like, I don't think Stalker 2 can be pulled off on previous gen unless they really, really dumb down how
Right.
that
So
game plays.
without fundamental changes, now I don't call it a game because it's not a game, but Microsoft Flight Simulator certainly requires at least a
Yeah,
Series
that's one.
S.
You can use
And
that.
yeah, and like it doesn't run on the One S. They could make it, right? Like they could do some stuff. They could reduce a lot of things to get it to run on the Xbox One, but it'll be a fundamentally different game than it is now.
That's
Exactly.
why
yes,
they're
there is
pushing the cloud version on Xbox One when they could get that to work. 'Cause
Right.
It's not going to have a native release.
Right, because you can't. Right, yeah, exactly what Cole said. So that's the same thing with these other games like Returnal and Ratchet and Clank. Like they will have to do shit to bring it down to the PS4, but then at that point, it's not the same version. It's like a totally different version.
So yes, Doc, did that answer your question?
I still
If
say
you guys-
Forza Horizon 5 looks better than anything I've seen so far. So, but
I mean, Flight Simulator is the best looking game right now, hands down.
Yeah.
There's nothing that looks like that.
Yeah, I
Are
don't
you
know.
kidding
Man.
me?
You go close to
Alright.
Are you kidding me?
You got the PS4.
Are you kidding me?
Alright.
Are you kidding me?
No.
So Billy's like,
Okay, so here's the answer, right? Because I have a PS5, right? Actually, my son has it, and I bought Ratchet and Clank for $70. Okay, that game could run on a goddamn PS4. Returnal could run on a goddamn PS4. Don't come on me with that shit.
No, Doc, let me ask
Come
you
on me
this.
with that. All right.
No, Doc, let me ask you. Beat the game, right?
Beat what game?
Ratchet and Clank, right?
Hell no, that shit was trash. I didn't like it.
Oh my god, you didn't even beat the game. So how can you say that game can run on the PS4 when you didn't even get deep in the game to see some of these levels and the scale of it and how fast they're streaming in assets into the game? Like just the what was the one guy?
Wait.
Level? Did you get to the level where you have to find the fixer?
you load the level within 1 second and shit like that.
Hold on. You see that? See, that's why y'all want to do this with me. Y'all just said that all they had to do is take a few things out of it, and that game would run on the PS4. Now all of a sudden it can run on the PS4.
No,
that's not what I said.
I said they would have to take a lot of it.
We can rewind it. We can literally rewind it.
No, you're not gonna do that because I said they will have to take a lot out and it'll be a different game at that point.
That's what
So
I'm
then
saying.
it's not the same game. So then it's not the same game. So then the answer is no. That game can't run.
Doc, do you
So
think
the answer is no.
Every game. You can do that with every game though. With Flight
can you
Simulator.
take-
You
can
can
you
do that
take-
with Flight Simulator.
you can make this version of Ratchet and Clank compared on PS4 and never run?
Hey fellas, I love you guys. I gotta head out. I just got a phone call. But hey,
All right, man. All right, man.
You guys have a good one. All right.
All right,
Gotta
man.
have
Have
you
a
on
good
next time.
All right, Doc.
man. I think this might have been for Dr. Eyes. That dude works out his muscles too much. He forgot his brains that was fluffy. That he might have been talking about Dark. But shout out to Doc. Thank you for joining.
Nah, man, don't hate on Doc, man. Doc a cool dude.
He cool, dude. He cool.
Yeah, I'm looking for. Hopefully, we can get him on a full episode. This was last minute. This is when I thought Cole wasn't gonna freaking show up.
But like, okay, so Cole, when it comes to so
Hold on, man. I want to get Logan before we get out of here because
Yeah.
Logan
hold on,
talking a lot of shit.
No, I know he's been quiet the whole show. But
no, because that man, there's so many people talking. I ain't
no. But one
I
thing,
don't do that kind of bickering.
here's my point. Because Cole, there are games that I played that have mechanics that I like from 10 years ago or whatever that I would have thought by today's standards would have been standard mechanics in a lot of these games. But
Sure.
it seems, there's games that to me, like there's modern games that are doing less. For example, like if we want to talk about like a third person action game or whatever, a lot of the third person action games that come out today, they still are doing a lot less in terms of game design and game mechanics than a game like Metal Gear Solid 3 was. So when we're talking about next gen game designs, like what do we actually mean by that when there are current game designs that still haven't caught up to modern gaming that we used to see?
All right, I will answer that after I get done with Logan.
Okay.
I don't want Logan to fall asleep. I don't want no excuses. Logan,
Yeah.
talking all that shit. Said you watched my video. You said the video was trash. You said I was a fanboy. I'm like, well, you clearly didn't watch it. You was like, yes, I did. You rambled on for 45 minutes reading the service.
It was 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Yeah, we had 10 minutes, and then
I timed it.
Well, okay, Robin. I'm like, well, then he clearly didn't watch the video. So I was like, well, what was the point of the video? And you never answered the question. So I'm asking you again. If you really watched the video, what was the point of the video?
Listen, I got the point of the video, which was
Well, tell me what it is.
Big bot brain, whatever mentality thing you're spewing. But all right,
You're not telling me,
I don't.
Logan. What was the point of the video?
That's what I just said.
That's not the point of the video. Not at all. Not at all. So I knew you didn't watch it.
Well, what do you mean I didn't watch it? It was 10 minutes of you going
Look,
over
okay,
the
just so
Microsoft
we're
terms
clear,
and use.
the point of the video, I
Then you
read the
went over?
Microsoft service agreement terms,
Yeah.
and I deliberately exaggerated their things when they said they're not responsible for something, where they said if there's an error, they're not covering it, where they said, and if you do try to sue them, you get 1 month of Game Pass and nothing else. And if the service isn't error free, and if you suffer loss, and I deliberately exaggerated all of those terms. And then right when I got done doing it, I said, now everybody with half a brain can see that I am deliberately twisting these words from Microsoft to try to make a point for console wars, and it's stupid. Don't twist things like this. Don't read into things. Don't just try to find anything you can, so thirsty to make a distraction that you just find any bit of legalese you can and try to turn it into fear. Is stupid. Don't do it. That was the point of the video. And you said it was a fanboy video. How?
Wait, how did I think it was a fanboy video?
Yes.
Because it just seemed like, well, first off, right when in the beginning, I went into it thinking, hey, maybe there is something up with the Game Pass bricking your system. So I don't know you that much. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know you that much.
Well, you probably just going by my Twitter reputation. That's fair enough.
So yeah, and
All
so
right.
like I mean I see what you post on Twitter and stuff, and a lot of stuff I don't agree with and whatnot. So I personally was sitting there thinking maybe there is something. Maybe there is actually something that is in these things. So I sat there, I tried to read through them. I looked through them and stuff, and I was like, yo, I'm not seeing anything that this guy is actually talking about that leads up to this.
Yo, who is doing that?
I don't know. It's not me.
I don't know. That sounds... Someone got some rappers.
Carry on.
So from my perspective, you know, as somebody that doesn't know you that much, I'm looking at it as in like, yo, I'm just getting thrown for a loop here. There ain't nothing really in here.
Ain't
It
no
just
stuff.
seems like fanboy mentality, and
Fair
that's
enough.
how I took it.
Okay, so you watched part of the video, so that's fair. But in the very beginning, I said, look, make sure you watch the whole thing, because if you don't, you're going to come away from the video with a big misunderstanding. Like, how can I be more clear than that? That, look, people that do this stuff is dumb. Don't do it.
I don't know if it's just a wording, but I took it as in when you said skip to the beginning of the video, right?
I said, or skip to the, if you don't want to
Yeah.
watch it, at least skip to the end so you can like hear the explanation. Yep, I did say that.
And so I sat there, and for me, from your video, I didn't take it as in you were over exaggerating and this and that. I took it as in like you're
Well,
going
I
through these.
specifically said that. I said, now clearly I am deliberately twisting this to be a negative against Xbox. This is the stuff I said is nowhere near what they actually meant. And I said, like, this is stupid. Like, don't do this. Don't create a distraction. Don't use stuff like this for console wars. Like, that was the whole point of the video. And I said, of course, then don't do that same thing with the SSD, because people talking about the SSD can, like Smooth talking about he disagreed. The SSD can melt your console and heating issues. Like, oh my God. Not true. None of that stuff is true. Sony didn't say with the beta program that if the SSD bricks your console. That is nowhere in that wording. People just add that the same way I distorted and added stuff to the Microsoft terms. It was like an example. Don't do this. Anybody can twist words, but if you read what it actually says, is nothing even remotely similar to that. That was the whole point of the video. That's it. And it was not a fanboy video at all. It was the exact opposite of a fanboy video. If you watch the whole thing.
Well, like I said, I did watch the whole thing. I was taking it in some different ways, so I guess that's my bad.
All right,
So I said, what? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. My bad. Finish your point.
No, I was just saying.
No, we
just,
could. It's squashed. It's squashed. I said it's squashed. As far as I'm concerned, it's squashed unless you got more you want to say.
No, I just say just from the outside looking in. Obviously, from this podcast, my views on you are a little bit different. I'm just gonna say that. I just wish I would see more, I guess, what I see of you in this podcast or hear
Nope.
from you in this podcast.
Nope.
versus-
Now you're not gonna see that on Twitter, and that's the thing I learned from Porter Rock, and he was 100% right. It is impossible to have conversations with people on Twitter. Number one, there's just not enough characters, and then number two, you right, they're not gonna address what you actually wrote. They're gonna come up with something completely different than what you actually said. I don't got time for that bullshit. So Twitter is just for mockery and jokes. That's it. If we're gonna have a real conversation, it's got to be something like this where we can engage. It is impossible to do on Twitter. I'm not even trying anymore.
And what I know is a lot of people they change their tune when you talk to them from like the way they type at you, but then when you actually, that's why like shout out to my guy David Gaines strictly, because whenever he would make a comment and some dudes will come at him, right, whether Xbox fanboys or whoever, he'd be like, all right, jump on Twitter Spaces and let's talk about it. And then when you jump on Twitter Spaces, they don't want to show up, or they have a totally or they have a totally different attitude and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this one dude right here, he's saying you're trying to negate the SSD install because they still trying to grab onto the fact that because you have to unscrew the back panel and slide the SSD in, that's a huge problem. That's going to be a problem for a lot of people.
If that's a problem to some people, that's fine. They have that right. I am not trying to tell you that the Xbox solution is not simpler. You have never heard those words come out of my mouth.
No, it is.
I'm not trying to downplay anything. What I said was it is not true that Sony has said that they're not responsible if a SSD overheats and melts bricks your console. That is a lie made up by the Xbox fan
How's
base.
it a lie? That was in their
in
notes.
those terms.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't smooth.
They said
Fine.
They said
I thought there was.
it wasn't verbatim like that. It was in layman's terms.
They said if the SSD that you pick don't work on the console, they're not responsible for that SSD not working. They're not responsible
That's it.
for that.
That's all they said. Smooth.
So
That's the equivalent smooth. If you buy a Mad Catz controller and it
that
don't
last
work, they not responsible for that Mad Catz controller. You got to take it up with Mad Catz. That's
I
all
said
they
that-
said.
I said that last week.
Contact your vendor. All right. Erotimus says also code the nursing home called said make sure you take your blue pills before you go to bed tonight.
You a hater. Did you get your green belt yet? Shouldn't you be somewhere studying for your green belt? That's what you're focusing on.
All right.
Hold on. So
Go ahead.
Cody answered my question.
That is a pretty long question. So at the end of the day, new game design is stuff that will specifically take advantage of neural nets, learning AI. Just because there's been some mechanics that haven't been popularized in current generation gaming doesn't mean that there are new things that's not yet to come. Imagine Forza.
That's true.
Imagine FH5 with 120 AI controlled cars where they learn your driving patterns different than mine, and the way they race against you is very different than the way they race against me because they learn to adapt to your patterns and your techniques. And then because of, say, 10 crashes in a game or whatever metric they choose, that you have a rival that organically grows from the game that they didn't program it in, but the AI itself is learning, and an AI competitor has decided that he is your rival and it is his mission to take you out. And so you have a competitor that I don't even have in my version of the game is very different than you because I play very different than you because the AI itself is doing a lot of non-scripted things that they never even programmed into the game. That's the kind of stuff that can lead to new game design, new level design, all sorts of stuff that we haven't seen, stuff like that, where they are taking the experience to the next level, even if the graphics stay just like they are now. But what you are doing, what you are experiencing as a gamer is stuff that you never would have thought of before. That's what I mean.
Machine learning, that's what you're saying? No,
Absolutely.
I definitely see like better, more advanced AI. We already seen I would say that we have seen next gen game design when it comes to Return on Ratchet and Clank, especially Ratchet and Clank when it comes to
we getting there. Yeah. We getting there.
When it comes to like as far as level design. Well, Ratchet and Clank is more of level design because as far as the gameplay, it's just a better version of all the other Ratchet and Clanks. But as far as level designs, going in and
is different. You've never seen
that in
Ratchet
you
Clank
never seen. That's why I'm excited. That's why like for the like what Mark Cerny was talking about last year, right? As far as like they've been stuck because of the hard drives speeds have been slow, right? They've been stuck with the same type of game design that they have to do, or the developers have to purposely at times slow you down. For example, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's a lot of times where you have to do a lot of slow ass walking in that game, and that's because it's loading.
Everybody's familiar with that stuff. Yeah,
everybody is loading and shit like that. So the exciting parts about the new generation consoles now using the SSD and shit like that is now that developers can break free from that, and we're already seeing that with Ratchet and Clank. My whole thing is like I want developers to get better at more physics-based experimentations in a lot of the games. For example, like my favorite game of last generation was Breath of the Wild, only because even to this day, like even 4 to 5 years later, right? GameStop has put like 7 or 8 videos out in the year 2021 about different things that are being discovered and that you can experiment with its physics 4 to 5 years later that people haven't done yet. I feel like a lot of games, they don't really, and the same thing with Metal Gear Solid. There are a lot of things in Metal Gear Solid that you can do in that game, even though it's a linear ass game, but mechanic wise that you can do that when you go back, you can experiment and do different things and get different results. That's what I meant by I was like, yo, I want developers to do that more and shit. Like the AI and shit, that shit's gonna come, right? But I want
but that stuff you don't really even need. That wouldn't even be next gen design. That would just be so throughout every gaming generation, right? Like different games will come out and they will have different mechanics. And I understand what you're saying. You wish certain mechanics would become more popular than other mechanics. And I actually, for the most part, I agree with you. But those things don't necessarily constitute next gen design. You just want to see more people utilize design that we've already thought of.
Yeah, because I think that some of these designs make the game make certain games a lot for example open world games. Like I would love Horizon or the next Ghost of Tsushima to give me a lot more that I can experiment with and interact with its world and its environment in the same way that Breath of the Wild is.
You think those features transcended the generation because so few people did it?
Yeah,
I think Assassin's Creed had a similar thing, and Phoenix Rising had some similar mechanics. Like it was almost a direct ripoff of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of
detail. Yeah, some of the finer detail with Breath of the Wild and the subtle nuances those games can't replicate.
Yeah, like I get.
So one thing I want to say, y'all, before we get started, to cut you off, my Pegasus.
No, you good.
I want to say this. One of the things, so like these Xbox dudes are always looking for something to hate on PlayStation about because they just getting curb stomped, right? But there is an actual thing that PlayStation, if I were on the Xbox side, there is something that I would be talking about that they are not, and I don't know why they're not. But one of the things is that Microsoft never promised new game design stuff, but Sony did. And Sony was very clear that part of the design was for the PS5 was to offer new game designs, new level design stuff that we hadn't seen. I would always be on the lookout for every new game, looking to see what new game design are they offering that they didn't before. The same way on the power side, everybody's looking to see what's the frame rate, what's the resolution, because Microsoft promised the power. Sony made a promise of new and exciting game design. And honestly, we've seen like glimpses of it.
We seen what Ratchet and Clank and Return, and that's the thing. That's why like.
But Ratchet, Returnal's not really a new game design. Though.
Yeah, Returnal's not new at all.
Smooth, stop it.
It's a AAA roguelike.
Oh man.
No, but listen, this is why I'm kind of disappointed that we're still gonna get games like Horizon and God of War that are still being designed, because last year Sony was talking about all this shit, was like,
yeah, exactly.
This is gonna break the mode of design and shit like that we've been stuck with from the PS4 all the way back down to the PS2, right? To the PS2 era that we've been stuck with. Okay, cool. This is what we want to see. Ratchet and Clank, it's a great showcase, right?
They did it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's an early gen game, right? So I didn't expect it to be extremely crazy, but we're getting glimpses of it. And then now, the next two major games you have coming out as far as first party goes, who can truly showcase what the PS5 is
And
truly
then they
capable of, right?
held back by the PS4.
And they're being held back by the
Yeah.
PS4, which I think
That's
is some
what these
bullshit.
Xbox niggas need to be talking about, but they ain't smart
We
enough.
have. We've been
Y'all
saying
just been ignoring us.
No.
We
No,
said Xbox.
No,
Chris,
all
let
of
me
last
finish.
year, hold
Let
on.
me finish.
All of last year, when I kept saying that the old gen, right, when Microsoft was talking about we're gonna support the Xbox up to 2 years and shit like that, and I kept telling people that the old console, the Xbox One, is gonna be holding back these games and game design, y'all kept disagreeing with me and arguing with me against that.
Yeah, because we knew
Oh,
PS4 would be the one
That's why
holding
they
it back.
kicked me out because they disagreed when I was saying
Never
that.
seen me
He don't know what he's
Proved it.
talking about.
I remember when you were here, Optimus, when we were talking about that, when we like this is before the one
Yeah, way.
series.
Yeah.
This is way
Yeah.
back. But
It was before
here's
the
what I
launch.
was saying. Jim Ryan said we believe in generations. I always be like, yo, how come you guys ain't coming at him for saying that shit? But everyone's on Phil Spencer ass.
Hold
Well, they
all I got
did.
was
That's
No,
the shit
people
they
did
had
come
on
at-
podcast
what are you
talking
talking
about
about?
Jim
I got
Ryan.
People came at
I
people-
got nothing but excuses, and then the same shit with the PC
What?
situation.
No, that's
Man,
not
look,
true, Jay.
Hold on,
That's not
dope
true.
boy.
That's not true because I
Dope
went
boy,
off on that.
Jack had a special emergency meeting. Jay Barry, all the PlayStation dudes was there. Fired Jim Ryan.
Yep.
Porter Rock did a thing. Jim Ryan lied to us. And one thing that like I don't know how you missed that because that was everywhere. And Porter Rock said something because some people was like, they imploding on Jim Ryan, laughing at it, ha ha ha. And Porter Rock made a very important statement that I stand by to this day. He said it is important that PlayStation people continue to hold Jim Ryan accountable because we cannot treat him the way Xbox dudes treat Phil Spencer.
I'm not
whatever
saying,
he says is okay.
they didn't say it. Of course they're gonna say
Well, who
it.
you talking about?
I'm talking about people on Twitter, and
Of course, people are
there's a
gonna
couple
come.
individuals
But hold on, the whole thing,
excuses, and then the
Go ahead, go
same
ahead.
shit happened with the whole Nixus acquisition. I was telling people, yo, they're gonna bring some games to PC because there's a huge audience of PC gamers that want these PlayStation games. Like people be saying, they be port begging, and what happened? They kept making excuses. Nah, they're just gonna be a support studio, and now they came out and said, hey, we're gonna put some more games on PC.
But they been said that. They said that before they bought Nixon.
Yeah, and nobody
They've been
believe it.
no people. What are you talking about? If Horizon came, they've been saying when Horizon came out or Death Stranding came out, or whatever, right? Sony literally said right after that there's going to be a whole slate of games that we're going to put on a PC. So I don't know why all of this. Like every time the PC conversation comes up when the PlayStation games goes to PC, everybody act like it's the first time hearing it, or they acted like, "See, I told y'all." Like, no, Sony told us a while ago.
That's what they do. They act like it's the first time they're ever hearing this shit, and when they make acquisitions to support that decision, it's like, oh no, it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not. It's a support studio. I'll pull up. Yo, I got you, Chris. I'm gonna get the tape.
No, yeah, and as far as like. As far as like the as far as that the whole Jim Ryan, because everybody went on his neck, even I went on his neck and shit like that. It was like, oh, you led us to believe, even though now when I read back at the quotes, I don't think that this is true, but the general consensus that he lied, right? He made us believe that all these games they're showing on the PS5 showcase were PS5 only games and shit like that. But when you read back at the quote before that we believe in generations quote, he said that they were still willing to support the PS4 for years because of the install base, obviously.
Well, hold on a second.
Hold on. Let me finish, Code. But then right after the we believe in generation, he talks about we believe in providing experiences that you can only experience on the PS5 with these specific features. And the three features he named was the SSD, the 3D audio, and the DualSense. So when he's talking about the next generation of games, you can only experience next-gen features. He was talking about those three features, and every game since then has had those. As far as
all right, so let me jump in. So
go ahead.
That is the typical excuse that people use, and so while that is true, it is also meaningless because Jim Ryan tried to do exactly what they did with the DRM thing. So Xbox got on the stage, announced their DRM. PlayStation follow up. Here's how you share a game on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. So he thought he had another moment like that because it happened right after Microsoft was like consoles run counter to everything that's about gaming. So Jim Ryan saw an opportunity to say, we believe in generations. And so he did add the fine print, like you saying, but don't
Right.
nobody care about that fine print
No,
bullshit.
that's true. That's true. I agree with you.
It was obvious that he meant to deceive people into thinking PS5 only. And just because he covered his tracks with mentioning specifics later on in the thing, actually it was like the next 2 or 3 sentences, but he knew what he was doing. He wanted to use that to get the mind share about generational exclusives. Yes, he clarified what he meant, what the generation stuff meant with the 3 features, but he did that after he had already set the expectations, and he knew people was just gonna run with the headline. Like he knew exactly what he was doing. He was misleading. He was deliberately deceptive, and the fact that he tried to add the fine print at the bottom to protect himself, some people falling for it. I'm not falling for that. It was an obvious attempt to mislead the fan base, and he shouldn't have done it. It's that simple.
All right, guys, because it's getting super late, but a couple things we want to touch up on was, so Stalker 2 has been confirmed to be using UE5. Is this the reason why it got delayed to spring of next year, guys?
Oh shit! I didn't know it got delayed.
I mean, I would have figured. I mean, a lot of games are getting delayed, so it could be anything.
I mean, would you say it's a delayed? I mean, they just said it was April.
No, well, it was originally launching this year. Remember? When
it was 2021.
They wanted Game Pass like in the next couple of months.
It was supposed to come out summer or fall. I think it was like somewhere around fall this year, right? Summer or fall.
Yeah, I never heard anything about a fall. I just always thought it was.
Well, in the showcase, they had the E3 thing, like at that or right after, they had a date that's coming to Game Pass. It was this year.
Yeah, it was this year.
It was April of next year.
No, that
was
was this year's E3, but they showed it last year as well.
Yeah, last year's showcase, it was confirmed for 2021. And then, we started to get some like gameplay and screenshots and stuff this year. And then the E3 thing came out. And then that's when we got the new date of April 2022.
And you're saying you think it's delayed because it's using Unreal Engine 2?
Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, I mean, my bad. I don't know why I said Unreal Engine 2.
Because
I feel like the fact that we also, are still kind of in a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many games are delayed. Like it's like hard for it to. I mean, it could be maybe because of the Unreal Engine 5.
I mean, when did Unreal Engine 5 like
this year?
Really, was it this year?
Yeah, this year.
So obviously that means I doubt people should start developing with it this year, right?
Yeah, but they said
they have known about it.
Yeah, but Epic said last year that if you have a game running on Unreal Engine 4, whenever Unreal Engine 5 comes out, that the process to port it over is not going to be too difficult.
It's difficult. Okay.
Yeah. So.
I mean, I could see it being a little bit if they want to refine the game and make sure it's I'd rather a game be delayed and be great than a game be rushed.
Right.
And terrible.
Facts.
That Miyamoto, baby.
Facts. Every single time. Didn't he told us that 20 years ago, didn't he?
Yep, and it's still relevant to today. Still relevant to today.
Call of Duty is rumored to get some sort of event and announcement on August 19th, which means we're going to get a release date soon. We all know the only reason why I want Call of Duty to hurry up and do its thing is so we can get Halo's release date. Do you think the sooner we find out Call of Duty's release date, the sooner we find out Halo's?
I think we'll get the release date at Gamescom. When Gamescom hits, they got to have that date.
Yes, and Gamescom is August 24th, and Xbox is confirmed to be having a full showcase hosted by Paris Lilly.
If Halo does not have a definitive release date at Gamescom, I would
probably gonna get delayed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna joke around. We're almost in the middle of August. If it's supposed to come out in 2021, it's gotta be.
Yeah, that's why I believe the Horizon's delayed, because like we're in August, we don't got a release date for Horizon, that's just delayed. You know what I mean?
At least like with the multiplayer of Halo, they don't have to like super gear up. I mean, it could be how Apex was. Apex was a free to play, stealth launch game, and look at it, it's very successful now. But I mean, obviously, there's still hype around Halo, and they could probably just be like, oh, by the way, Halo's dropping next week, and everybody would still go crazy about it.
You can't do that with Halo.
You don't think so?
Nah,
you don't think they could just
buy? Nah, they gotta.
They got to market it.
Yeah,
man.
they
Yeah, but
need-
they
it needs to
already.
get its
How much
marketing.
money did they waste last year on marketing? They had Doritos. They had Monster. I mean, I think their marketing for the game is just. Yeah, they'll have like that stuff, but I don't think they're gonna build it up like what they did last year.
No, they have to. They need to. They absolutely need to. It's their biggest game. They absolutely have to hype this shit up.
The biggest, what would be a nice hype of just putting it out.
You know? Just the same thing as Forza. I better see Forza Horizon commercials on the TV.
Well, but I've done seen a whole ton of Forza like over the last couple of weeks. It's like that game's
Dude, that
pretty much coming.
Did you
soon.
see that? What is that? The showcase they did.
Yeah.
It's like a half-hour showcase. Do that.
And
Forza
which
Horizon
brings
that's
this
dope.
up,
Forza is
Chris. Thank you for Chris. Because I remember when we were talking a whole lot about Forza Horizon 5, you were adamant saying, "Oh, that was on PC."
Because I said because it's probably that shit was probably on PC, and they came out and confirmed that all the
It
footage
was
they
on
shown
Series
it's
X.
been on. All right, so yeah, I take my L smooth. You got it.
Okay, I just
take my
wanted to.
Yeah, hold that.
I
hold
didn't
that,
like.
hold
I don't
that.
know if you watched that one clip, but the guy's like, he's like, we're gonna stop and enjoy this beautiful scenery for a second. Then that one of the NPC cars just smashed him right in the back.
Yeah, you got it smooth. I take my L.
What else was there? We got
Oh, Downlight 2.
Dying Light 2, which is going to have now. I'm not going to speak on this super early. We can only say on Xbox Series X, the game will be able to run above 60 frames per second in its performance.
Why? Because of VR.
Because of
Yeah,
VR.
that's the main reason.
Now,
yeah.
I'm not saying it won't. It's probably not going to touch 120, but it'll probably do what a Plague Tale did and be able to get to like the 80s, 90s, and stuff like that.
I can't wait for that. Like,
Xbox was supposed to be buying them, and Dying Light was supposed to be a Xbox Series X exclusive.
It was a
Yo,
I never
that was
believed
supposed
that rumor.
they were supposed
Yeah.
to buy Sega. They were supposed to buy a whole bunch of other people too.
But I got a question for you, Optimus, and I'm not saying I'm asking you because I feel like you were doing it, but I do see a lot of minions that follow you, you know what I mean, and retweet your stuff. They do a lot of things. Why is it, right, when games on Xbox is targeting, and you could say this for PS5, but I'm going to say on Xbox because I see it highlighted a lot in on Xbox games, that if it has 120 frames mode, right, why is it okay for games on like PC guys, right, to brag about games that they're getting above 60 but not holding a locked frame rate on whatever number that they're getting? They'll be running a game at like 80, 95, 96 frames or 102 frames, whatever, not holding that number but getting as high as those numbers. It's okay, they can brag about it. A game on Xbox Series X could be targeting 120 and be averaging 100 or 90 frames per second, and it's bad. I don't get why is it good and it'd be shown as a benchmark on PC, but it's bad if the Xbox is hitting that number but not locking to 120.
I don't know why people say it. I don't think I have any minions, but I don't know why people that will follow me would say it other than like it's ammunition for console wars. But the reason I would say it is I haven't said it, but the reason I would say it, it would depend. So like if a NVIDIA 3090 Ti with all the bells and whistles and all the other components in the system to go with it, if it is bragging that it does 120 frames per second, and if that is the message minimum, and if they release a game, say NVIDIA was making games for that video card or for that system, and that game did not hit that consistently like they said, then it would be a problem because this is the expectation that you set. It can't target it, or that's what you should have said in your advertisement. And so when you hype a particular thing and when you don't match the hype, then it's going to be an issue. So most PC dudes talk about 1440p and they know that they don't have the highest end card. They know they got a mid-tier card and a 1080 Ti or something, and like that's all they working with, and they don't really hype the whole power thing. They just hype choice. They hype freedom and options. But when you have a fan base that specifically hypes power, and most powerful ever, and you even had people saying that the Xbox Series X was more powerful than a 2080 Ti. I hate those comparisons when people only compare
was
the
that was a
GPU.
crazy comparison when people threw that out there.
Yo, what
Yeah,
was
but
that
like that's
28
the
Ti paired with? Like, I don't.
exactly like how are you just gonna say like a GPU by itself does nothing. But anyway, so when that type of stuff happens, Smooth, of course people gonna be waiting to try to make you eat crow. That's all it is. Don't set false expectations.
Who's eating crow?
Addict! What's up, player?
Someone needs to like who's eating crow. I
No
missed
one
that
right now, but
What?
I'm about to read this $5 super chat from Don Ataku. He says, Halo would be butchered for splitting multiplayer and campaign, but The Last of Us 2 launched without multiplayer for over a year now, and PS fans don't complain.
Bro, that's not
What
true.
is he
People been
talking
complaining,
about?
yo.
Oh my
Why
God.
do people say blatantly false things? Like, yo, people are continue, bro. Even your guy who broke BG, Broken Games AG, doesn't he tweet at Neil Druckmann every time he tweets about where's Factions 2, where's Faction 2?
Oh my God.
When they announced that The Last of Us wasn't launching with multiplayer, everybody went in. Remember that Smooth? Jack Move went crazy. BG went crazy. That's what got BG and Hard 8 talking together because there was no factions in The Last of Us 2. Why do these people blatantly just say wrong things? I don't understand it.
Man, that's why you
Damn,
gotta
that seemed a little bit aggressive for a super chat, Chris. You okay there, man? Like,
Yo, because these people say the most dumbest shit that's not true.
And
You
who
should have
is
seen them
complaining
earlier,
about
man.
who complaining about Halo campaign and multiplayer being separate?
No, because that's the people think that's it's a possibility, and because we have.
I think if it is delayed, they'll put out that multiplayer as a beta first.
Yeah, I mean, I got no problem with look, anything that needs to be delayed, it needs to be delayed. Leave it alone. I do not think that it is a L if a game ends up getting delayed.
Look,
Not at all.
I agree with you, but I do have a condition. Like, I don't like studios that throw out a date when they know damn well they ain't gonna meet that date.
Well, that's
Like,
a good point too.
it's just like, look, like you can't complain about people complaining about release dates when you're throwing out dates that you know you can't meet.
Yeah, right. And that goes back to setting false expectations. Don't do it. Yes, I agree 100%. But if a game needs to be delayed, man, give the
I agree.
developers
If
the
it needs to
time
be
they
delayed,
need.
it's got to get delayed.
But like they know that right away, right? It's not like a week before the release date they just figure out we not ready. So they got plenty of time
1
to
second.
set expectations.
Unless you're CD Project Red.
No, they knew better. That was just management trying to get a cash grab. And
Yeah,
they
that was
thought they
terrible.
had built up enough goodwill and people was just gonna look the other way.
Bro, they still don't have a next gen version now, bro. I've been waiting for a next gen version to get the game.
Well, they've been losing a lot of talent.
Buy that game for $15, man. Get it for cheap now.
No, it's gonna be cheap. No.
You can get the physical copy for dirt cheap right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, but why wouldn't it be dirt cheap in 6 months from now or a year from now?
Because they're gonna drop that definitive edition with all them patches and
Nah,
all
but
that
but
content.
hold on. But CD Projekt R usually do upgrades for free.
Yeah, no, they're gonna have a free version,
so
but
that's
there's
why
gonna
he's
be
saying
a
buy it now,
definitive.
why it's cheap.
There's gonna be a definitive version of the game. They're gonna re-release the shit, remarket it. This is the game you've always wanted.
I
And
said
stuff
if
like
I'm not
that.
gonna, if I'm not gonna play it, I'm not gonna buy it.
I got the game on PC. Your boy got a 3090, so I'm good.
And what else you got with that, dope boy?
Oh, I got a Ryzen 9 3900X.
Okay, how much RAM you
Of
got?
course, 32 gigs of RAM, 850 watt power supply, liquid cooling,
What's your IO controller?
X570 chipset.
Okay, I hear
Got
you.
nothing but SSDs.
I hear you, player.
Is Addict still here? Because I'm about to close.
Nah, he's on mute. But speaking of SSD, by the way,
Yeah.
there's been great results so far in the beta with the PlayStation 5 SSD. There's been SSD that have been improving load, like what I said last week. I remember Smooth, you asked that. You get faster SSD, it's going to improve the load times.
Hey, shout out to Jay Bar. He's been dropping videos on that too.
Yeah, man, I got my Mark Cerny edition WD Black SN 850. I got the 2 gigabyte model. It only cost me $400. 2 terabytes.
Damn, that's crazy. I would delete your games, goddamn.
So you spent more on your hard drive than you did on the PlayStation.
No, my PlayStation was $500.
How much was your SSD?
Well, a digital PlayStation is $400.
Man, if I could find one, I sure would grab it. So what? You got some smoke for that, Smooth? What you trying to say?
No. I'm not. I ain't
Boy,
got
look
nothing.
at
I mean, God bless you. You know what I mean? So like,
that.
like I don't foresee myself adding no SSD to my PS5 in any case scenario. Like it's cool. I think it's a cool feature, but
Actually, I didn't either, Smooth. I only did it so I could make a video of it, showing
Hey,
how it works.
yeah,
that's free. That's free views right there.
yeah. But I don't even think I didn't even get access to like the beta. But then again, I don't even know how you get into the beta programs on PlayStation.
You just go sign up for it.
Okay. But
So what's coming early? What's coming early for Xbox next year? Because I'm probably gonna get an Xbox next year, but probably around like when like Starfield and shit starts dropping.
Stalker 2 is early.
the
Well,
earliest-
April.
Yeah,
spring.
but that's the 3 months time.
Yeah, that's spring. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the early half, I'm honestly not sure. I would consider all the games that got delayed or didn't or that hasn't been delayed yet are going to be like the early part of the year. But the biggest games is honestly Redfall and Starfield and are really honestly the biggest games that we know so far.
I don't think Redfall's in. I know they said next year, but I don't think that shit's gonna make it next year.
Like they targeted a particular quarter though. They said summer. It's not like they kept it open ended. So they.
Yeah, but it could still get delays too. So
I think everybody should just be prepared for games to get delayed on every platform, especially with this Delta variant or whatever they calling it. Just be prepared.
oh yeah,
It
I
makes
just got
perfect sense.
I just got my Pfizer shot today too. That's crazy.
You're what?
My Pfizer shot or the Pfizer shot,
Okay.
COVID shot, yeah, vaccine.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, it's not an L. Like I'm gonna be talking a bunch of trash on Twitter, like for sure. But if a game gets delayed for Xbox, that's not an L. I'm not going.
Nah, that is gonna. Nah, I need them to come heavy this year. I need my Halo. I need my Forza, bro. If,
All right,
if
nah,
one of those games get delayed this year,
Nah.
I'll shut off my Twitter for the day.
Hold on, because Forza was announced this year, right?
Yeah.
So to me, if that gets delayed, that wouldn't be a problem. But Halo, after it was supposed to come out last year, and it's already been delayed a year.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets delayed again, to me that's a no.
Yeah.
Well, here's the Halo question. Smooth, I'm asking you, Smooth or Dope Boy, either one, but nobody else.
Okay.
Smooth or Dope. Well, oh man, you can answer too, but like especially Dope Boy or Smooth. Given that y'all participated in the tech preview and y'all say things looking nice, my question is, Halo was supposed to drop almost a year ago with this multiplayer. What the hell was they gonna release back then if they just now in tech preview with this multiplayer?
Oh, dude, you asking me? I'm asking them the same thing. I'm over here
Smooth said it
wondering the
was
same
okay.
thing.
That's a good question.
I seen plenty of screenshots from dudes like Uber Nick, who's a huge Halo content creator and he streams a lot on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, like what they did with the assets in the game is way better now than what it was last year. And we've seen some of the stuff with like the popping and the asset quality of the game then as well. There was a lot of issues with it. So if they were planning on shipping that, I don't know who Matt Booty must have been off of like 2 blunts or some shit. He must have been high as fuck when he seen that game. I don't know.
What's your answer, Smooth? Because what they got now is it ain't even a beta yet, and it's like, how are they not in beta when they were supposed to been released a year ago?
I don't know. Everything I'm hearing, like last year when I heard the report, I heard the multiplayer was pretty much set. It was a campaign that was they were having trouble with, but that could be wrong. That's rumor. There's no official information there. But
I heard that before too. That makes sense. But this multiplayer still is not in beta.
Yeah, but the thing is, nothing's wrong with the actual multiplayer. They're just giving us a limited access to the multiplayer. Remember, we spent most of the tech test going against bots, some very smart bots, but they were bots. It's not like all they're doing is giving us a taste. So we can't even say that. Like I don't feel like, even though I feel like I don't feel like we're playing an actual real chunk of the game to be like, all right, this is early.
But that is my question.
We're playing
Why
a tech
not?
test. It's just that date.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like they're withholding, a lot of this game. But when it comes to betas, the only people I do trust when it comes to betas is Xbox as a first party because when it comes to Gears and Halo, they're the only ones that actually do betas where you play a beta and then the actual product shows like drastic improvements.
Well, they did that with Sea of Thieves too. I ain't going
And
to
Sea of Thieves, but
Yeah.
the only reason why I say Halo and Gears because there was multiple instances where that happened with Gears 4, Gears 5,
okay. Fair
Halo
enough.
3, and Halo 5 also, and now Halo
Yeah.
Infinite. And we'll see what the final product will look like when they do that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I scratched my head on the fact that like this was literally supposed to launch November 10th of last year, and it's.
I mean, it's obvious it wasn't ready.
They weren't really honest on the stats of the game, so they were giving out the date knowing that it wasn't going to make that.
Yeah.
I think that, and on top of that, all of the the criticism it got in this reveal also just said, yeah, fuck it, we're just gonna delay it.
Yeah.
Because
I hear that. I hear the fan outcry, but I think they had enough on their own even without that to know.
yeah, even without that. Oh, obviously, yeah, because we've been here for a long time. But there's been development trouble, and the people have been leaving and shit. What that happens to a lot of studios and shit like that. So I'm not gonna say that's only on 343, but that's something that we've been hearing, that there's been a little bit of trouble. Hopefully everything is fixed now and they have more time in the year. Obviously, right, like his was saying, last year they said that the multiplayer was ready to go. Well, if they're doing a tech test, it's not even a beta, and this runs this smooth, I can believe that.
Yep. But yeah, it's about that time. Did we miss anything before we close out for the night?
We pretty much hit everything.
Well, that's what's up. But shouts out to you, Optimus. Thank you for coming through and
Anytime.
giving us a jolt of life. It was good discussion. I'm sure we're going to have some more in the future. Shout out to Doc Dark 1985 for coming through. Of course, the entire PX crew, Ole Man Logan, Chris, Dopest J, Mr. I'm on my way, NickBanks. But and Koi. So but nah, definitely appreciate you guys. You guys that have any special things going on that you're gonna put out, any outros?
I don't need no outro. People find me, they know how.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say just a reminder, on August 19th there is a demo for Tales of Arise. It's gonna be on everything.
That's
Xbox.
gonna be fire.
Yeah, PlayStation and shit like that. So if y'all want to check that out, Smooth, I'm proud of you that you got into a game like Scarlet Nexus and you actually beat it. So why don't you, try out some Tales of Arise, man?
Yeah,
you need to
definitely
get more JRPGs. Not every JRPG is like Octopath, where it's like you don't know how to equip a sword and shit like that. Right? There's some that are more streamlined, more action based for you. Right?
Yeah, the demo comes out. Was it in a couple days, or is it next week?
No, I think it's the 19th. Hold on, let me check it just to be sure.
The 18th.
The
Yeah,
18th.
next Wednesday.
No,
Yeah.
I've been looking
next,
at the
next
game.
podcast.
Yeah, the demo will determine if I buy it or not. That's what like I had interest in Scarlet Nexus, then I played the demo, and then I'm like, all right, I'll buy it. So I'll see if Tales of Arise. I know that's a more of a familiar series because there's multiple Tales games, right?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, but each one is completely different, so you don't have to play a previous one to understand what's happening.
Last Tales game I played was Tales of Vespia, I think it is, on the 360.
Vesperia, on the 360. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and somebody said, listen, we ain't gonna talk about that. That's gonna be way too long, and there's really not much to talk about. All right, it's Kojima. That's all y'all gotta know.
Abandoned.
Yeah.
All right. For y'all's sake, I hope it is, because all the conversation and for it not to be.
Nah, it's probably gonna be a huge hell.
Shit, at this point, I don't care who it is. I'm really pissed off. So even if it is Kojima and Silent Hill, like my hype level is greatly reduced.
For now, until they show it, then it'll go back up.
Yeah, I mean, I might change my mind, but right now, work. Wait till tomorrow come.
All right, Dopest J, what you got?
Oh, you guys can check out my latest Halo video on my YouTube channel at Dopest J. And yeah, I'm just gonna be working on finishing Final Fantasy VII Remake and then start working on that video pretty soon as well. That's gonna be a pretty long video because I have a lot of footage from that game.
Well, make sure you repent for your sins before you do anything else, sir.
Yes, sir.
What sense, man?
Said
Honestly.
Returnal looks blurry. I heard you.
That should look blurry at certain
Here we
moments,
go.
man.
This
I'm
man
That
not
was
even
some
gonna
high
lie.
definition blur.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
and I'm not playing on the 4K monitor, man.
Wow.
All right, guys. But we definitely appreciate you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that share button. If you just missed the show, you can always watch on demand. Xbox is the best box. I am the best bot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. I am out of here. Peace.